Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land and Facebook land, and all you podcast and music lovers, and welcome to another episode of the Black Spinner Music Podcast. Today's episode, we are going to be ranking all 15 albums by Pink Floyd. Now, Pink Floyd has a very rich album collection, lots of twists and turns throughout their career, and we're going to go through them, and we're going to let y'all know what our favorite albums are and which ones lag behind. But for me, and I'm pretty sure I'm talking for everybody else here, there is not a bad Pink Floyd album.
Yeah, there's not a dud in the lot, in my opinion.
No. But we got to rank them somewhere, and some might be in the bottom. That doesn't mean that they're bad albums, just that there's some that are better than others, and there's some eras that are better than others. Mm-hmm. That's what makes this band so great. They go through different changes in rock, and they've always been the ones to be on top and the leaders of it in their respected genre of rock and prog rock and space rock and so many different elements different boxes that they check. Tonight with us, we have Jerry Superman Supa from Three Shots Down podcast with us here. He's also from the BS sessions with Mark and Jerry. And today we also have Al Horta with us from the Be Cool or Be Podcast Out podcast.
Hey, everybody.
If y'all want to see some really good live stuff, go to his YouTube page and you'll be able to see.
Never disappoints.
Almost, he can sell it to MTV or MTV Live where they still show music.
Yeah, real quick, I took my daughter to see Rob Zombie on Sunday.
Yeah.
She begged me to take her, so all right. So I took her and my niece. I think they were a bit shell shocked, but right. I mean, he puts on a great stage show, and I mean, definitely they had a good time. Especially my daughter, my niece. You know, she's not really into hard rock or metal. or anything like that. But I was like, come on, you spend time with your cousin. So they went, but they had a good time. So, and Peter Criss came out actually on stage and sang "Happy Birthday" to John 5.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peter Criss lives in New Jersey, so I guess Rob Zombie surprised John 5 because John 5's favorite band is Kiss. So
that's cool.
And then he made a joke because John 5 has an Instagram page called Nights in Satan's Service, where every day he posts a piece of Kiss memorabilia, and he has an insane collection. And so Rob Zombie made a joke. He's like, you have I didn't know what to get you. I know you love Kiss and everything, so you have everything by them. So I got you the next best thing. I actually got you Peter Criss. So Peter Criss walks out on stage.
Awesome.
I think John 5 was pretty surprised. So Peter sang "Happy Birthday" to him and got the crowd at the moment, all that. So that was my weekend.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, that was cool. You got to see Peter Criss.
Yeah.
When you least expected it.
Yeah.
And also we have the great Kate Dore from International House of Vinyl and from Vinyl Street. So check her out. If y'all are looking for a vinyl that you can't find, check her out because she probably has it or she'll get it for you somehow, some way. So, and she also does great auctions with her expertise about the albums. So she does a good job of doing that. And I will be your host, Andy Rodriguez from Black Spinner Circle. So we've got a lot of albums to tackle. So let's get right to it. Jerry, what are you going to start off with tonight?
Well, this album is probably my least favorite, but I still love it because you kind of started hearing the Pink Floyd song that made them off this one. The first disc is all live stuff, which is good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the cool part about the second, the third, and fourth side, it's kind of like an individual thing. Like each person had their own song or something on it, like Richard Wright had. I'm horrible with these names, like Sisyphus. I can't really say these names very well.
Oh, Sisyphus.
And Roger Waters had the Grantchester Meadows and several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pick. I think I said that right? Yeah. And then David Gilmour had the Narrow Way, and Nick Mason had the the Grand Visor's Garden Party. I mean, there was definitely not their best, but you can tell they were going in a direction that made them famous on this one, though. But like I said, it might be number 15, but I still love it. I listen to it a lot. So,
Man, that live side, it is awesome. It's a lot better. The studio tracks are good, but live on Umaguma, man, they really push it towards the limit on there.
Yeah.
The live album's fantastic. What are you gonna start off with?
I'm gonna go start off with their last album, The Endless River. And again, like Jerry was saying, they don't have any bad albums in my opinion. I love all the Floyd albums for, they all have merit one way or another. This is, it's just one vocal, I think, song on here, and the rest is instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, it was done during the Division Bell sessions.
Yeah.
But really, they're kind of leftovers for them. But it's still kind of a cool listen when you want a laid back ambient, just kind of chill. And I mean, this is a great album to listen to. And I actually got like this special edition here. It's like you open the box, comes with a book, and it actually has a. I'm into 5.1 or surround sound type music, so it has a surround disc on here. I mean, Pink Floyd was made for like surround sound.
Yeah, right.
And if you have a good surround setup, and I suggest seeking this out and checking it out. I mean, it's great. It really immerses you in the music and stuff. But yeah, man. I mean, it's still really cool. I dig it, but it's got to come in somewhere, so I'm putting it at 15.
Kate, what are you going to start off with?
I did Adam Heartmother. This one's probably at the bottom of my list. It's only 5 songs, and the first song's like 23 minutes long, which, they're big on long songs, but this one, even Roger Waters said this is a load of rubbish, and it belongs in the dustbin. It's such a Britishism to be a load of rubbish and put it in the dustbin. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I'd like really dislike any Floyd albums either, just like you guys said, but it's just one that's lower on the list.
Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with Pink Floyd's most controversial album, and that's the one that Jerry picked as well, Umaguma. I called it controversial because we weren't going to put it on here, and then it came on and then off. So that's why I called it controversial. It's controversial.
I kind of nudged him to put it on.
Yeah, but
it's part studio. It's in their studio discography. So I mean, that's why I was just like, let's put it in there.
Yeah, and it's true because every time they talk about Pink Floyd, it's not Pink Floyd albums. It's always on there. It's not relegated like Pulse or A Delicate Sound of Thunder, which is true. It's always there in the discography. It's a good album. It's on the Harvest label, but I just don't like it was just a little bit too trite for me. Sides 3 and 4 when each member almost had their own creation, and I tried to listen to it again and try to see how higher I can get it, but it stayed where it stayed. But like I was stating with Jerry earlier, if y'all want to listen to the first disc, which is just great live, it's just and the live tracks are going to be Astronomy Domain, Careful with That X, Eugene, which is not on an album. It's a single that was released. It's a non-album song, and Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, and the title track to It's Also Full of Secrets. And it's really, man, they really do a good job on it. Yeah. But it's going to be number 15 because everything else is, in my opinion, better. All right, Jerry, what's your number 14?
Well, number 14, Umaguma, in my opinion, is a better total amount of songs that I like than this one. But this one has a Nile Song and Cymbeline in it. Soundtrack for More. I mean, The Nile Song is just freaking awesome. It's like one of my favorite Floyd songs. It's like early death metal kind of in a way, you know.
That one's totally metal. I wrote
and
that
then,
in my
and then
notes.
you got this mellow cymbaline. It's like cool. I mean, from hard shit to excuse my language to like really mellow stuff. I mean, it was really I think. Well, I don't think they ever went as heavy as they did on the Nile Song, but you can definitely tell a lot of songs like Quicksilver, another decent song off this album. But yeah, the Nile Song puts this above, Umaguma just by itself. And like I said, I know I mentioned it before. Has anybody seen this freaking movie?
No, I've never seen it.
I think I have it on. DVD somewhere.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's like a bootleg DVD. It's not.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's hard to find.
Yeah, because I've never even.
I've never found
I've never seen it.
I don't even know if it was ever officially released on DVD, but I know I collected a lot of Floyd bootlegs back when we still did like trading and stuff like that. And I remember getting that movie on DVD, and I think I watched it once. It's a pretty weird movie, but I think it's in French too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And,
was it ever released in America?
No, I don't think so, man.
I don't think so either. Okay.
That's why I probably got it on bootleg. I was pretty hardcore collecting Floyd for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of like just unreleased shit and stuff like that. So concerts and stuff. So, but yeah, that's a good pick, Jerry.
What's the oddest thing that you have of Pink Floyd?
The oddest?
Up your head. Yeah, like the oddest.
Oh man. Probably like a Syd Barrett live show, like a real, because Syd Barrett live shows are very rare.
Rare.
Not really a lot of them. It was like I can't remember like where the date was or where, but it was one of the few that like somebody audience recorded. You know?
Okay.
And it's in. I have it on CD somewhere. I have a whole like box just dedicated to Floyd. I have CDs and stuff like that. I have to like really. I mean, I put that shit away a while ago, man, and I really have to dig it out. Because right now, I don't know. Actually, none of you guys know, but actually, we just sold our house, so I'm packing up. I'm not gonna be showing a lot of stuff today because a lot of my CDs are already getting packed away.
Oh, okay.
All that stuff. So we got to be moved out by the end of August. So.
Oh wow.
A lot.
We're gonna be moving into our parents' house for the time being, which is just across town. But then eventually we're still looking for a house in Florida. So because that's where we're going to. Anyway, yeah, I didn't really tell too many people. It's kind of just we sold it privately.
Right.
So, and somebody asked us over our asking price, so we're like sold.
Now's the time. Yeah. Right now is the time to sell if you want to sell something.
So anyway, I think it's like a Syd Barrett thing, I have like outtakes from like the, the Wall, but that's a lot of that stuff got released already. So this is way before like Floyd released all this stuff, So, but my next pick is. Again, like I don't have a lot of stuff to show, but I do have the cassette of the final cut. Yeah. I don't even have the cover for it. that's how much I never really upgraded this album. I should get it. I need to get it on CD. I never did. I mean, to me, this is just like a Roger Waters. It's the beginning, really, of Roger Waters' solo career. It's leftovers from the Wall sessions, kind of. They call it like a sequel, I guess, to it. It kind of is. Very somber album. I don't think even Rick Wright was even.
No, he got fired.
Yeah, he got fired. Yeah.
I think he got fired during the Wall, but I think Roger let him play the shows.
Which was a smart move on Rick Wright. Rick Wright became a salaried employee on that tour.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is actually that worked in his favor because that tour lost money.
Yeah, they lost like $600,000.
Yes, and because he was a salaried employee, he got paid. Right. While the other guys were like losing money. So
he was making $11,000 every day.
Yep.
Like holy crap.
Yep. and that's in 1980, 81. That's,
Yeah, that's so much money.
Yeah.
And then for them to lose, because I read that, and for them to lose $600,000 is like $1.7 million now.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
I mean, think about it, man. I mean, that stage show was so ahead of its time. I mean, technology hadn't even,
like the giant puppets and stuff, like that's why they lost money, because they did too much shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very successful in the US. So that was
it really, and it only happened in like 4 cities.
Mhm.
It was New York, Los Angeles,
Detroit,
and LA, and
yeah,
London. And so and it did, like, they would just kind of just set up there and just do a whole row of shows or whatever in a row. But anyway, yeah, going back to Rick Wright, I mean, he in the end he made out, and the rest of the guys kind of didn't. So, but it's funny how like technology caught up to that tour now. When I saw Roger's version of The Wall, when he did that, and I was saying to myself, wow, like technology finally caught up to his vision,
Right. Yeah.
So, it was incredible.
Yeah, the first time I saw it was that live at Berlin one, The Wall in Berlin or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That was a
that would
great
have been
show.
sweet.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
But going back to Final Cut, I mean, this is an album I don't pull out really that often. And in fact, like, it's probably one of the last Floyd albums I kind of really ever had, but I like The Wall though. But then I was like, oh, this is kind of a sequel to The Wall. I'll probably like this, and I just didn't live up to the expectation. But still, I mean, years later, as I've gotten older, and I saw Roger do a tour where he did a lot of that stuff on live, so it kind of like brought me a renewed interest in the album and stuff. So, but I got to rank it somewhere, so I'm putting it 14. So that's my number 14. Go ahead, Kate.
My number 14, I did Umaguma. The live half I dig, like that's a lot of good older songs that they do. But the second LP, I'm like, oh my god! I listened to it today, and I was like, this is giving me anxiety. Like, it's all instrumentals, it's all anxiety inducing. It was like, man, I think I needed to be in a different headspace. Like, if I was driving on the freeway in rush hour or something, it might be better that you need that like that intense music going on. But this one, like sitting at home, I'm like, all right, I'm not into it, so it got bumped on the list down. But,
I can understand that.
Yeah. All right, Andy, what you got?
Yeah, I'm in tune with Jerry over there. More is also my number 14. Like he was saying, the Nile Song and Cymbeline are so great. Man, Cymbeline's such a beautiful song, but the others are just pretty much like movie tracks, and they just, I don't know, they just didn't bond for me well when you hear together songs, not compared to another soundtrack that we're going to get to later on. But More is going to be number 14 for me. I mentioned the 2 songs, they're just like Jerry did, that I dig. But other than that, it was just little bits and pieces of music, like a movie sequence that was just didn't bond for me strongly. All right, we are going towards number 13.
Number 13 is The Endless River. There's some good stuff on this album. I mean, Louder Than Words, the one with the lyrics, great song.
Yeah.
Anacina, that's like my favorite song out there. That's a pretty instrumental, man. I love that song. I love the beginning, Things Left Unsaid. That's pretty cool. And Talkin' Hawkin', of course, is pretty cool too itself. Kind of like part 2 to Keep Talking off the Division Bell.
Mm-hmm.
But like Al said, man, just great ambient music to chill out to, and especially listening with the headphones, man. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, you get immersed in it.
And again, jammed in there. Their packaging on their later albums is awesome. You get a lot of cool shit with them, which I stuck in the plastic.
They really go all out in the packaging, man.
But
like I said, like this thing here, man, is kind of cool,
A typical Floyd guy on a boat, top of the clouds. I mean, typical Floyd album cover. Good stuff. I was really happy when this came out. I was going to ask you, what do you guys think of the Rise Up.
Oh, that single that came out
Yeah.
probably a few months ago. It was all right.
That's
I
not
liked it.
bad.
Yeah. It was a little bit more rocking than the Endless River.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I like the Ukrainian version where the guy's singing, but you got to look up the lyric translation. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good track. I liked it. But do we know if Nick Mason is also on that, or
Nick Mason's on
okay?
it. They have a video for it on YouTube.
Okay. Number 13 now.
Well, much like the final cut was a Roger Waters solo album, I feel that Momentary Lapse of Reason is a Gilmore solo, really. This is the remix version, actually.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool, cool version, cool alternate to the original one. Again, it's not a bad album. I just feel like, I don't know, without the four of them, when you take an ingredient out, it just becomes a different beast altogether. I enjoyed that album very much when it came out. It came out when I was in high school. I believe I was a sophomore, and it was big. It was a big album at the time. Like Floyd, man, they're back, and and I kicked myself for actually, because I had a couple of friends that went to that tour and I missed it. I didn't go to it. I ended up going to Division Bell then years later, but I remember all my friends came into school next day. They were wearing Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason. Well, you sons of bitches, I didn't get a ticket. But I mean, it's got the radio singles. It's got Learning to Fly, it opens up cool, with Signs of Life, instrumental with Gilmore, soloing. On a Turning Away is a great song. Sorrow, Dogs of War, I mean, it's got some good stuff on there. That was the beginning of the Gilmore era of Floyd. So really, I mean, he was like the dominant force then, without Roger.
Yeah, big time.
Whereas the final cut, Roger was the dominant,
Right.
It's so funny, man, how Roger dominated the Wall and final cut, and then boom, that's it. Like he's not there, and then Gilmore asserts his dominance then. And you could just tell, I mean, without Roger writing the lyrics and kind of doing some music, it felt a little, I don't know, it just wasn't the true Floyd to me,
It sounded like normal lyrics.
But it's not Floyd, dude. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But anyway, that's my number 13, Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Kate, what's your number 13?
I went with Endless River. Like you guys said, all unreleased stuff from Division Bell, kind of leftovers. I do like this because if you're into doing an instrumental album, like you guys said, it's so good. It's soundscape, it's like you can put it on and you're in a different place if you're chilling and keeping your eyes closed, listening on headphones. And I like music like that, but I definitely have to be in the mood for music like that. I'm not a big instrumental person unless I'm studying or painting or doing something where I need to stay right brain and not think about anything else, because lyrics are distracting when you're doing anything right brain. So this would be a good paint or draw or do something kind of album. Yeah, that's cool. I've never seen the CD one of that, so that's cool. It has a bunch of neat stuff in it.
The CD, and then it comes with the Blu-ray round version on it. So
that's cool.
And it comes with these cool postcards. That, and then
they're cool about doing postcards and stickers and stuff in their albums. I always like that.
Yeah, it comes with the book, all sorts of stuff on it. So.
Yeah.
I love, like Jerry said, man, their packaging is always really cool.
Mm-hmm.
David Gilmour has the coolest freaking studio. It's like a houseboat on a river, man. It's I forget the name.
Yeah,
of it. It's beautiful.
Was that the on the island one?
Well, no, he's got his own studio, or I don't know when he got it. Probably around on an island area is when he got it, I think.
Okay.
It's this huge houseboat on a river, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he started recording there. I think Momentary Lapse of Reason
That's what he said. He wrote and did that when he's on the boat.
Right. So
they said he was on the River Thames and he's doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
I'm going to agree with y'all on my number 13. It's going to be the Endless River. It's number 13, and like y'all were saying, it's mostly instrumental except for Lost for Words. Of course, Lost for Words is going to be the one that has words.
That has lyrics.
That's just your typical Pink Floyd. But I did notice a lot of these songs that were instrumental, it sounded like Division Bell or like little tweaks and turns from other songs, because they are the makers of it. So, it's pretty cool to hear almost alternative versions going towards that way, but not really. Do you know what I mean?
You get the reference of like little bits and pieces are pulled from old stuff.
Yeah, where things
come from. Yeah.
So on the Division Bell, since these were from the Division Bell sessions, on the Endless River, did they do anything new from there, or did they just
Louder Than Words
sessions?
Louder Than Words, and I think Anna Senna was mostly Gilmore. I think.
Okay.
But I know Louder Than Words, I think, was new, of course.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know, to be honest with you.
All right. That's what I was wondering. All right, we are number 12.
Now I'm trying to rethink this one. This one should be lower, but it's a great album. But I don't know where to stick them all. Saucer Full of Secrets, man. This is a great record. Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Let There Be Light. Remember a Day. That's a great song. Corporal Clegg. I think that's Nick Mason on vocals, if I remember right. Jug Band Blues, Sid Barrett classic.
Yeah, that's the last thing Sid did with them.
Yeah, a lot of Rick Waters on this album too, which I was good to see because I love Rick. I mean, he seemed like such a cool dude. I think Roger probably gave him the shaft at the end, but this is this should have been a little higher actually. Now I think about it, but oh well. I'm looking at the song list. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Okay. But,
these are hard. Some of them I'll switch last minute and be like, oh wait.
I was a little surprised too that it's kind of lower on your list there, but
well, I had it on there. I can't change it.
All right,
Al.
I don't have my CD of this one, so again, I'm going to go with the second half of Gilmore's solo. Kind of. I'm going with Division Bell as my number 12. So. Again, at the time it came out, I was all in. If I was younger, if you would have asked me this probably 25 years ago, there you go.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a t-shirt with the album cover, actually.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me 25 years ago, I mean, Momentary and Division Bell probably would have been higher on my list. But yeah, that's great, man.
Oh,
but
that's
cool. As I've gotten older, my favorites have been kind of reshuffled. I'm more of an old school Floyd fan. Anyway, but I mean, it's still What Do You Want From Me on there is great, pretty cool tune. A Great Day for Freedom, I love that one. Take It Back was a very U2-ish, that song, like the guitar line. And that,
uses that Ebo a lot on that album.
Yeah.
I tried using. I have no idea how to use that thing. I'm sitting there fumbling around with him on the guitar, and I can't do anything with it.
Yeah. High Hopes was a good song. Keep Talking that was a single. Again, Gilmore, continuing his version of Pink Floyd, But hey, I went to the tour and it was fucking unbelievable. I saw that giant stadium.
Oh, yeah. I saw the opening night in Miami. It was incredible.
And I remember they did Astronomy Domine on there, Domine, whatever you want to pronounce it. Kate, how do you pronounce it usually?
What'd you say?
Astronomy Domine or Domine?
How's it spelled?
It's the Sid song.
Domine.
Yeah. Some people say Domine. I say Domine.
I always thought it Domine.
Yeah.
I think it'd be Domine or if it doesn't have the accent, like my last name has the accent.
Okay. So
and that is the A sound.
Okay.
But if it doesn't have that accent, then it's probably like Domine.
Yeah. But I remember them doing that, and I was like, "Holy shit!" They're doing
like
Sid song.
Yeah.
They did the whole Dark Side of the Moon album. I mean,
They did the whole Dark Side, and then it was
That
a
would have been
huge
sweet.
in the middle of the stadium. This huge disco ball came out, and it opened up with lasers and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
I remember
they had these two monster pigs come over the top of the walls during one of these days.
Yeah,
it was a fucking incredible stage show.
Yeah, I remember that was back in my smoking days, so I lit up a nice fatty and kicked back and enjoyed the music. You know, I could have probably got a contact. It was in the stadium, but you still could have got a contact. I was so much smoke coming out there.
Oh my god!
I remember it was like $29 for that show. I'm like, damn, man,
dude, think about that now, dude.
Yeah,
like
$29 for some crazy show.
That same show would probably be $300 at least, probably
easily
for the nosebleeds.
Yeah,
for the nosebleeds. Probably.
I was on the very top, but on the front row, straight towards the stage. It was probably
that'd be cool.
View, so.
That'd be cool. Big shows like that, being far away is better. You get to see the whole setup and everything.
Yeah, like when I saw Roger Waters do the wall, I didn't want to be up close. I wanted to be
being
back,
up further away. You
know.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of being like front row on that?
Well, if you're like this the whole show, just staring up and it's like in your face too much. Yeah. So it works out sometimes being a broke ass.
Be a broke ass.
The Fishing Bell is my 12. Go ahead, Kate.
That's mine as well. So this one's another one that's like, I'm not as familiar with this and didn't listen to it as much because I'm like more middle. Floyd is more my wheelhouse. I think you mentioned a few songs that I like, and then Marooned is another one that it wasn't mentioned, but I love the cover art. I mean, that one's so cool. Cover. It's such an iconic cover for them, but it's just another one I don't know. That was one that I missed, you know, I just didn't really listen to it as much. But not a bad album. Just not as much in my wheelhouse.
Well, that album's ranked on mine then.
Yeah. I think it depends on like where you were at too when it came out. I mean, 94, like I'm a little kid, but if you were a teenager, it probably was like rocked your world, you know.
I mean, just the fact, I remember when it came out, it was like the album was being released and they're going to sell tickets following Friday. It's like,
that'd be sweet.
Hell yeah, man.
It'd be sweet to see live. I mean, that's
any days we had to wait in line to get tickets, you know?
Yeah. Well, you go to somewhere that sold Ticketmaster, like had the little stand. Yeah. Because that was me when I was a kid. You'd have to go. It was like inside JCPenney's customer service center was where we would always go. So it's funny to think about that you had to go in there to go buy tickets to stuff. And now it's like nothing is printed out unless you go to the box office. You get no paper tickets.
Yeah, I mean, Pink Floyd, you come out with toilet paper and I'd buy it. I love that band so much. Pink Floyd and Zeppelin have always been my two favorites. So, you put it out, I'll buy it, you know.
Yeah. All right, Andy.
Yeah.
Number 12.
My number 12, you know, when you're throwing a party and someone says, hey, man, you got any Floyd? You go, yeah, I got Floyd. Don't ever put this on during a party.
That's a party killer.
Final Cut, yeah.
People will either leave or start telling you their problems.
Yeah, that one's intense.
Yeah, but it's not bad. The thing that could have made this badass was if it had more Gilmore on it.
Yeah.
If Gilmore had his room to do solos, so he could have done great, slow, somber solos instead. I think he was relegated to one or two. And the rest, you know, understand what it's about. That's why it wasn't at number 15, because I understand what it's about. I understand what Roger was trying to get his point across about his father and about the devastation in World War II. And I understand that, but sometimes artists need to be pulled back. That's what producers are there for. That's why you're in a band. That's why, like Al was saying, this could have easily been a Roger Waters solo album. This could have been first, and then the pros and cons of Hitchhiking, which I need to listen to. I haven't heard that one in a while. But every time, you know, we're talking about solo albums. When it comes to Roger's solo albums and Dave's solo albums, there's something missing. And it's each other. There's something missing on each of them.
I think David Gilmour's albums are brilliant. Sorry.
Oh, his are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think his blows Rogers away.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely like
But you
Gilmore
know,
stuff.
but I gotta say, man, I've in the last like couple of years, I've listened to some of Rogers stuff like Radio Chaos and Pros and Cons, and it's actually like because I never listened to that man ever. Like even when they came out when they were new, I was like more pro Floyd. I was just kind of ignored Roger, dude, and But now, like, I listened to them and I was like, damn, they're pretty good, actually, you know? But I'm more of a Gilmore, in the Gilmore camp when it comes to, like, the solo albums. I think he has more better solo albums, actually. You know? I just think him a guitar player, too. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I love Dave, man. I mean, he's...
his guitar playing was so important in Pink Floyd, and then to take it out on this album was just so odd. But there were a couple of really good songs. The Gunner's Dream, Your Possible Past is a beautiful song. I love Your Possible Past.
Yeah.
And
what's the Gilmore track on there? Not Now, John.
Yeah. Not Now, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
That's a great one, man.
Yeah. But
that's the only one I really got to like right, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Roger just took over the whole thing. And you know, the Wall was with Isran, of course.
Bob Ezrin.
Yeah, with Bob Ezrin. I don't know. I think Roger Waters did this himself, didn't he?
Yeah, it doesn't say Bob. It's not Bob. That's not a Bob Ezrin production.
No, it's not. It just says a Requiem for the Post-War Dream by Roger Waters.
I think Roger produced it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was something I read that even Gilmore asked him to wait to release this because he wanted to write more stuff for it.
Yeah.
And Roger was like, nope, just put it out. That's like, all right, well, there's the end of that. That's him leaving. Like,
yeah, and that was, you know, there was a big disconnect between.
Yeah, I was going to say this comment to the album, but people get on David Gilmour for going on with Pink Floyd. But Roger Waters flat out quit the band. He said
he left.
Going any further.
Yeah.
David Gilmour and Nick Mason are like, F you, yes, we are. You know, so you can't get on David Gilmour for wanting to continue that. I mean,
yeah,
is he the lyric writer that Roger is? No, but his wife writes some okay lyrics. Not the best, but you know.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Holly Sampson's her name, I think. Writes all the lyrics.
Right. But the thing is that you know they keep on saying, "Oh well, Roger Waters is a founding member," but but so's Mason.
Yeah,
Mason and it's like. You can't discount Gilmour coming in.
There, but still.
It's not like Gilmour came in 10 albums later. He came in, Gilmour's not exactly like that. Always frustrates me because it's not like he's in 10 albums later. He's in right away.
Yeah,
it's like as soon as they started having problems with Barrett, they got him.
The question I always bring up is like, you know, would Pink Floyd be as big if they kept Sid and didn't have David Gilmour? I don't think so.
No way. He couldn't even play shows and stuff. Like they literally didn't even pick him up at the one. That's like where they boot him. They just don't even go get him for a show.
I'll give Sid credit enough. He got him in the door, but without David, that band would not have been as big.
No,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but you know, I think it's what I think.
What's number 11 is where we're at.
Speaking of Sid. Let's go with the Piper to the Gates of Dawn. Talk about Astronomy Divine, Lucifer Sam, Interstellar Overdrive, great tune. There's some real weird ones on there, like the Scarecrow and Bike. You know, like I said, if you listen to Bike backwards, I think you can summon a demon. I think it's so weird. Yeah, Power Takak. I don't know how he says it, but that's a cool tune. That's actually cool footage of them doing a couple live tunes off some kind of talk show on YouTube, some old talk show. I don't know if you ever seen these videos of them doing Astronomy Divine. It's like these guys are just, just ragging on Pink Floyd, and then Barrett's just like, I don't think they prepared how smart Sid Barrett actually was for the interview, But that's good stuff to watch if you ever come across it.
Yeah, I think the host of the show was like, it's a bit too loud for me.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Right, yeah.
Why does it have to be so loud and all that? And they were trying to explain to him, well, it's kind of like you kind of need the loudness for sustain and all, kind of stuff like that. They weren't being like dicks to the guy, they were just kind of explaining. And the guy is almost kind of really.
Yeah, he was getting a windbag. I mean, he was kind of like a stuck up snob.
But he was an older guy, so it was probably like,
I guess. But anyway, like I said, great album still. Just not as good as the other ones ahead of it.
Number 11.
Number 11, and again, I don't have a physical copy, as I'm sure you guys do. I'm going with Adam Hart Mother. I like Fat Old Son, which I've heard Gilmore do in concert. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've seen Gilmore solo, and he did.
I like the 3 in the back.
Yeah. The Adam Hart Mother, the first side, the whole suite, pretty cool. I mean, it's them still trying to find their sound, like with Gilmore in there, but still, I like the early stuff. I like when they're searching for the sound and stuff. And I think they still come up with some pretty cool, unique, stuff. So, Summer '68, it's I don't know. Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast is pretty but still, I mean, back then when I smoked and all that stuff, I mean, I can listen to this and really dig into it. But I'm putting it somewhere on my list. It's got to be 11. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still a good album. I'll throw it out once in a while. Excuse me. I do have a fan made quadraphonic. There was a quadraphonic version of this album, and somebody took that and actually put it on DVD and made a DVD audio out of it, so you could play it on your surround sound. So I got the quad version of it, which is really cool. I'm into surround sound, and Pink Floyd was just tailor made for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
For that format. So, but my number 11 is gonna be Adam Hart. I do love the cover, the cow. It's like, what the hell does that mean? Whatever, man. It's Floyd, bro. It's just kind of it makes you think,
It's the weirdness of it, and you love it.
Yeah, man. So go ahead, Kate.
I did Obscured by Clouds.
I love
this one. I don't know. There's some songs on it that I really dig, and I like the changes. To me, it's some of it sounds almost like Southern rock, but then there's these really chill songs. It's a shorter one for them. It's only 40 minutes long album. So, but that one, I mean, I don't have much to say about it because I never listened to that one as much. I listened to it today and I was like, all right, I get, it's a good album, but I just never was as into it as other stuff.
Yeah, that was connected between metal and Dark Side.
Yeah, because then, I mean, it goes from that to Dark Side, and holy smokes, that's a big jump.
It's a big difference.
That's quite a jump. Yeah, and it's very different sounding.
You could tell on that they were going in that. There's remnants of
right. You start to get the feel of where they're headed for sure. Yeah.
And that's what makes Floyd so great, because they have this long discography, of 15 albums, and fans like us can hear, especially when we started a different era and moved back and then moved this way. You're like, oh, you're starting to connect that they're just going in pieces. It's like a continuation of what they're doing. It's pretty amazing once you think of their whole discography like that.
It's a long discography, and they were pumping out albums. I mean, 67 all the way to 77. They're pumping out albums fast, and I love changes. So that's why I'm so big into the Beatles. Any band that can do such a huge scope of picking genres that they're kind of getting into, or referencing other music. That's a big thing of why I love Floyd, and you can hear it throughout their whole discography, where they're from the beginning, and you'll hear stuff where they refer back to it, or they'll give these hints of where they're going, like we said. So yeah, that's awesome to me when a band can do that. That's just so impressive.
And it's pretty cool that you said 67 to 77, because I think Al's mentioned this, and I've thought about it as well before Al had mentioned it. There's 10 years that bands go through of the great 10 years of What's the
It's
word?
like a renaissance
yeah.
almost, where they're like,
I think a band's most creative period
Yeah.
is like a decade.
Yeah.
After look at any band's discography.
Yep.
Like the beginning usually for a band's first, second album, they don't have their sound yet. You know, you could kind of lump Judas Priest in that. Like the first album, you can kind of throw out Rock and Rolla, and then kind of they start with like whatever. Anyway, I'm just saying, like you could take a chunk of a band's time around.
Yeah.
Usually it's a decade worth of like their most prolific, most creative period. I mean, pretty much you can look at any band's discography, you know, and look,
anybody who's been around a long time,
Yes.
especially.
and
Yeah.
usually after a decade, that's when the quality starts tapering off. The
Yeah.
Beatles never had that chance, so
No,
that's why
seven.
they're considered the greatest ever. You know, I mean, they never allowed themselves to
Get painted.
You know, same thing with Zeppelin. Well, even though Zeppelin, a lot of people will say
Yeah.
presence and they started dropping off a little bit. I don't agree with that. I think they were
I
just
don't
changing.
Yeah.
But like, dude, they have a decade worth of material done. You know,
Yeah.
that's why they're considered one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
go down the line, man.
Yeah.
Sabbath, first like 10 years, boom, quality. You know what I mean? And then
The Stones, we can say 64 to 74 was their greatest
exactly,
time.
Yeah.
After that, they were just,
yeah,
you know,
They're
through
okay,
motions.
but they're just
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty amazing for a decade and how many albums they pumped out in a decade and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like that creative period, and then it just runs out, and they just every
And I
band-
think everyone burns themselves out, like
You get-
touring and doing
you-
that. And you think when they're like in their early 20s and then getting into your 30s and you want to settle
Yeah.
down
You
and
get successful.
you're
you
you're
become-
getting some money,
You
you're
want
getting a
more
house
songs.
or a
Yeah.
family or
You want
Things
more
change.
songs on the album than you're used to. The other guy won't let you have those songs.
Yeah.
I always say
Yeah.
with success comes complacency
Yeah.
a lot of times. So
Yeah.
you know, you get the money, you get successful, and hey, listen, man, I can kind of cruise now a little bit.
Right.
yeah,
You know,
You aren't
I mean,
hustling like you were.
there are exceptions, people that always push boundaries, and I kind of put Neil Young into that category. Ray later on in his career, he's put out some great shit,
yeah,
you know, well past what would be considered a shelf life.
Mhm.
Tom Petty, same thing. There's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, like
Yeah.
decade, boom is like the band's greatest stuff, and then you know you kind of you know taper off after that. So
Mhm.
that's my opinion. I don't know, man. I mean, just
No, you're
look-
right though.
Oh,
and,
no,
like,
but I've thought about it even
Yeah.
before you had mentioned it. I've always thought that about bands, and like when I'm looking for albums for bands, I really look at the year. Is this the fruitful year, or is this the
Right.
years where they would release a single or two and that was good enough?
yeah,
You know, instead of making a whole album. And like
Mhm.
Aerosmith, I want to believe had two renaissances like that. Their early 10 years and then their later
Yeah.
10 years.
yeah,
Yeah, they've
You
been
know,
around
there was a
long
little
enough
gap
to go
there,
through
and then
too.
they did it again when they made their MTV
Mhm.
comeback with, we can even say, starting with Permanent Vacation, and you know like 87 to 97, another 10 years there
Yeah.
compared to 70 to 80, so or around that time. But yeah, we really have to do a show like that, picking bands and the eras that they were most successful at and the most successful albums during that time for that band. We should really check into that.
it'd be a good show to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of talk, because there's a lot of bands that we can give
There's
examples
so
of.
many. Yeah.
Well, you could do a show like, you know, top 5 most creative decades of bands or something like that. You know, pick a band that you think had the most successful run of albums in like a decade's worth of, you know, period. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, but we've got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
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 So,
Is it my turn?
Yep. Number 11.
11.
Yeah.
A Momentary Lapse of Reason is my number 11. Side 1 is just perfect to me. But this album loses me on side 2 with the little pieces of like a New Machine Part 1, Terminal Frost, kind of was kind of hit or miss. It was like they were trying too hard to be the quirky Pink Floyd. But Al had mentioned the Signs of Life on Learning to Fly, the Dogs of War, One Slip, and on the Turning Away. It was a great ballad by them.
I love On the Turning Away. It's a great song, man.
Yeah, and a great Gilmore solo at the end of that song.
Yeah.
That he will also return that sound on the Division Belt with the solos at the end of the songs, which I liked a lot. And I haven't talked about that album, but I will. But yeah, Momentary Lapse of Reason. I remember when this came out, I was a big fan of it. There's the cassette of it.
Yeah.
And in fact, the cassette was the thing that I was listening to this week instead of pulling out the album.
I had that one time in my life. I have no idea where my cassettes went over the years. I couldn't tell you. My Star Wars figures, my baseball cards, and my cassettes. I have no idea what happened to them.
All your stuff that would be worth a fortune right now.
Oh yeah, I threw away all my Star Wars stuff when I was a teenager.
Dude,
I used to have the Darth Vader head. Do you remember that? The Darth Vader head, you would open it.
Yes, and it was a playscape.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, my friends who are Star Wars nerds pay a fortune for all those guys.
The original Star Wars stuff, my friend John, one of my best friends that I grew up across the street from, he had all that original stuff, Millennium Falcon, all that. And I think his mom ended up throwing that out as he got older. And dude, he to this day, he's like, I could have made a fortune on that stuff.
Fortune.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch TV with the Millennium Falcon. I'd be chewing on.
Who knew back then? Who knew back then? Like how much?
Yeah, who knew? And also in school, we would take our Star Wars. I don't know if y'all did this, but y'all would flip it up and you put a penny in between the legs and put tape around it and spin it, and it would break dance and dance on the tape. That's what we used to do with our Star Wars figure. We get the Darth Vader, throw away the cape because it would get in the way when you would spin it. It would do like the head spin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so funny.
And now, shit. But I had mentioned this. Imagine if you still owned every piece of music you ever had and didn't lose any, or trade any, or sell any, or lose them between moves. Imagine how much. I'm still looking for the first Beatles I ever owned, and I saw someone trying to sell it at a record convention, the last one I went to. But I was trying to catch up to them. It was the 20 greatest hits. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I just
Beatles on it.
I wish I knew you were looking for that. I sold one of those a couple months ago.
Oh, I don't know what.
They're 20 best hits. It's cool because it goes through the time too. It's like in order of their best hits.
I bought a cassette of that at Woolworths when I was like a preteen.
I'll find another one, Andy. It's okay.
Oh, great! Thanks a lot because
I'll keep an eye out. If I know what you guys want and I know the way the cover looks or whatever, but I know I'll find another one of that. But,
yeah, it was one that said the Beatles. They had like different pictures of them, like kind of faded.
Yeah, I have that Beatles on vinyl. I think it's called Introducing the Beatles, which is on the VJ label.
Yeah,
and it's not, and it's an authentic one too. And I heard that goes for a little bit of money. That one,
a little bit.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah.
I got to see what label's on mine. Not that because I would never sell again. There was once I needed cash to get to Chicago, so I sold a lot of my albums, and still to this day, I was like, I don't have it anymore.
I know.
Mistakes, man.
You're in a pickle. You got to do it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But it was a fun trip. I enjoyed myself. All right, Jerry, you're number 10. We're again. No, wait. Yeah, number 10.
Yeah, number 10.
Final Cut. We talked about this quite often.
Yeah.
Not Now, John. That's a great tune.
Yeah.
The title track, man, in my opinion, is Roger Waters' best vocal. The Final Cut, the song itself. I think it's his best vocal, period. I think that is such a beautiful song, the way he gives the emotion through it, the sadness coming through it is incredible. And and David Gilmour shows up in spots. He has a few solos on here. A Final Cut, Not Now John. I think he's got one more solo, and I can't think of it right now. But I don't hate this album as much as a lot of people do.
I don't hate it either, even though it was like on my list.
I don't want to say hate. But
there is a faction of people out there that say, "Oh, that album sucks," and whatever. I don't think it does, man. I think it's just
it's different. It's different.
It sucked that he had to fire Rick Wright, or for what I don't know why. It seemed like he got hosed. I think Nick Mason's always been the kind of guy that says, "I don't give a shit. Just put whatever you want."
He's their Ringo. He's easygoing. He just goes with whatever's going on. He's their Ringo.
Okay. I don't even think David Gilmour and Roger Waters were even in the same studio when they did this stuff anyway.
Probably not.
No, I don't think they were talking much at all.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my number 10.
When I saw, like I said, the first time I ever saw Roger Waters solo, he was doing the Before the Wall thing. He was doing he did the Dark Side tour.
Yeah,
he was doing the whole Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
He did like on this tour. He did like Fletcher Memorial Home off that album, Southampton Dock. I think Get Your Filthy Hands Off My Dessert. I think he did a couple of songs off of that album. And that's when I really was like, hey, maybe I should go back and check out, Final Cut. So that's why I kind of renewed my interest a little bit. And after hearing the songs live, I mean, he put on a brilliant show, man. So. But my number 10 is going to be Umaguma. Again, I don't have a physical copy of it. You guys showed it already. The first live side, they do awesome versions of Astronomy. Don't mind. Careful with that, Alex. And Set the Controls.
Right back.
When I saw Nick Mason's Saucerful of Secrets live a few years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Cool. Dude, if you ever get a chance, go see that. It's
coming in October. I want to go to that really bad.
Please go to it because it was brilliant.
I want to go. Yeah.
And the New York show that I saw, he did 2 shows. I went to the first night, and actually Roger Waters came out and surprised Nick. Actually.
Oh shit!
Oh wow,
that would be cool. Yes. Oh my gosh.
And they did Set the Controls live, and Roger did it with him, and it was awesome to see them 2 on stage together. And I think even Nick Mason was surprised. I think genuinely, he really didn't know that he was going to be there because he just came out backstage and he was like, "Oh,
holy smokes!" Yeah, it'd be like seeing a ghost. It'd be so weird.
Yeah,
he was probably looking for a lawyer then. Oh shit, where's my lawyer?
I feel like Roger turned around though, because he was really hard on everybody else, but then
he has turned around.
He did that 2005 reunion,
the Live 8 reunion,
and I feel like he figured it out, and he
and
got over himself or whatever.
I was kind of hopeful. I'm like, but I'm thinking this ain't gonna happen for long. So
I don't think Gilmour is ever gonna forgive him. Yeah, I just don't think he ever will forgive him.
David doesn't want anything to do with him anymore.
I don't think any of them really care anymore either. I don't think they do.
Yeah, they all have their own stuff.
Roger would do it. I think Roger would if they would let him.
Yeah.
But then when they took off his solo stuff off their website, like he wasn't even associated with the name anymore.
I mean, he was out to get them for a long time. Like he was trying to sue them about everything with the name. Yeah. And then even try to sue promoters and stuff when they were touring. I mean, he was really a jerk. To say it nicely, he was kind of a jerk for a while.
It's not like he was kicked out or anything,
Yeah, he left, and then they had a meeting and agreed, and they both Mason and Gilmour left thinking that it was okay to use Floyd, and he left thinking that it was not going to happen. And
that picture.
That's
cool.
You
get the picture. That's cool. Yeah. I need to go back and watch that. I bet you can find it on YouTube. I want to watch it.
I don't know how many times. Very uncomfortable picture, in my opinion. Roger Waters was like this. Come on, get the picture.
And Gilmour's like,
Gilmour was kind of hesitant. Yeah, I remember the body language.
Yeah,
but I think they did about 3 or 4 tracks.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
but Umaguma is my 10. Grantchester Meadows, good tune. you know. But I love the live side, you know, more than the second side. But still, I like it a little better than Adam Hart Mother. I guess it's because of the live stuff, probably, you know.
Yeah.
But I put that at my number 10, Umaguma. You guys touched on it already, so go ahead, Kate.
Oh, the Sisyphus. I didn't say it earlier, but the Sisyphus stuff is the guy in Greek mythology that's cursed to push the boulder up the hill.
Yeah.
So that's think about that. So if you think about that and like all the way the songs go, it's like, oh, you can hear it. I don't know. It's funny to think about. But my number 10, I did metal. I think Fearless is probably my favorite track on here, but that's more like, I don't know. This one to me sounded more different. Like the guitar and everything on this is so different for Floyd. Very different sounding. And then I feel like the only Floydy sounding Floyd song on here is Echoes. I feel like the rest of it, you could have, if someone told me it was a different band, I would have thought, I wouldn't have argued, you know, but I do dig this album. I listened to it today and I was like, oh, that is a good album. I just never really got into it, but very different guitar sound. And like Echoes is like one of their biggest songs, I feel like, but that's like the only one off on this one I feel like was a hit. So.
Yeah, I like their performance that they did of that. Like on what's the word I'm looking for? Inside the ruins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Pompeii?
Pompeii, yeah.
Yeah.
Pompeii, yeah.
Their live in Pompeii is really cool.
That's such a great concert film.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All their live stuff, man. They have so many live albums, and that live from Pompeii is really cool.
Yeah.
Really awesome, man. Just the whole vibe of like where they're playing, and
it just suits it perfect.
Yeah.
It just does.
And you know what's funny about the live in Pompeii too is one of the later Beastie Boys videos. They kind of mimic the whole playing in the Pompeii thing. I'm trying to think of what song it is. I think it goes off of Check Your Head, and it was like one of the more like heavy, you know, with Beastie Boys. Like on Check Your Head, they were playing their own instruments, so they were more of like a punk and jazzy. And I mean, I love that album. And I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but they kind of mimicked the whole Pink Floyd and the Pompeii. Like it was kind of funny. It was kind of cool too, you know.
Yeah.
And then you saw like like they would pan like them playing, and then like on the side of the amps, it said I think like Pink Floyd on there, kind of was like an homage. You know?
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's kind of cool. But yeah, that whole Pompeii film is awesome. I have the DVD of that.
Yeah.
And it's got like two versions of the film on it. It's got like the broadcast, the one you saw in the movies, and then it's got like an uncut, like a director's cut version on there. I suggest anybody who doesn't have that on DVD get it. It might even be on Blu-ray now at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah, and
I know everybody streams now. Everybody, I don't know. My favorite bands, I still like getting the physical product.
Oh yeah,
you know. So that's just me.
Yeah, I got a Neil Young coming out on Friday. That's released on Friday. That one order, which is a live album with the Promise of the Real with the Willie Nelson Sons.
Yeah. Call him Uncle Neil.
Yeah, and they jam on that.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
I know that we're going a whole different way, but
it's fine. Well, that's fun. I like when we derail.
Dedicated to his manager that passed away right before that show, Elliot Roberts, and Elliot Roberts was his manager for over 50 years.
Wow.
So
it's a long time.
So they did this together because he was Neil Young's manager when they were both in their early 20s. So everything they did together. That's amazing that they stuck together and went through the changes and, you know, let Neil do what Neil wanted to do, which sometimes maybe he shouldn't have let him, but he did. But I will talk about that some other time maybe. But I wanted to say Gilmore has a concert film, a solo from Pompeii.
Yeah, Rattle That Lock tour,
Yeah, it's man, really it's awesome. The way that he has the dim lighting.
Yeah,
and then
I saw that tour in here at Madison Square Garden.
Did you?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I've seen Roger, but I've never seen Dave. I've never seen Dave.
If you ever get a chance, if he ever tours again,
Yeah.
I'd suggest do it this time. You don't never know how much time these guys
He
have left.
said he's doing old man tours, like in just a few cities at a time.
Yeah,
right now.
that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I want to see him so bad.
And please,
Yeah.
man, if Nick Mason comes around, go see him, man.
Yeah, I've heard some of their recordings because they released a couple of
They
CDs.
do everything pre-Dark Side. That they don't go past.
It's like everything till metal, right? I think.
Yep.
And man, his drumming is just unbelievable, and that's something that they kind of took away from him in the later.
Oh, his drumming on the early albums is
Yes, it is inventive. It really is, and he carries it. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of took that away from him towards the later.
Yeah, starting with Dark Side usually. They really started like streamlining his drumming. I guess Roger probably wanted that. So
for his storytelling and so on.
And like Kate said, whatever they want, he kind of just went with the flow.
The intro to the song "Time," man. He's just
man, yeah.
Yeah, I think he had the glowing
drumsticks
and all that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So where are we at?
You're on number 10.
I am?
Yeah, I just did metal.
Okay, you did do metal.
Yeah.
Mine is going to be Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. Pipers at the Gates of Dawn is my number 10. I know the album cover looks different.
I was gonna say you got a black and white cover.
Yeah, do you have like a UK, like an old UK pressing or
something?
No,
it's what is it?
Is it
it's that compilation. Yeah, it's an insert for the compilation.
Oh, okay.
Nice pair. When they did I'm Scared by Cloud. No, I'm sorry. It's Hostel Full of Secrets. What was on the other side?
Oh, is it like a nice pair?
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, nice pair is a cool setup.
Nice
yeah.
So I took this out so I can show the cover of it, but I had it. It's right here. So it came out of a nice pair.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool.
That's a cool setup. Are those on Harvest? There's 2 different sets of that. You can get the ones that are on Harvest with the yellow and green label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what mine is off of. It's the
Harvest. You have the Harvest labels.
Yeah.
I had 2 different things of that where I had the Harvest and the other one. I don't know what the other one is.
But the
I can't remember.
But the thing with a lot of people talk about Syd Barrett. I think Syd Barrett's okay, but I think they really took off on their own after Syd Barrett. I think when it's just a little bit too off for me, a little bit too weird, where the music wasn't as important as it turned out to be later on. So that's why I got this kind of low. This one, which is Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. It kind of loses me in the middle there, but the singles like See Emily Play and Arnold Lane and stuff like that were fantastic, but just in a long form, it just kind of lost me. So that's why I have that one at number 10. Yeah, Pipers at the Gates of Dawn, number 10. So we're in the inside of 10, number 9.
Adam Hart Mother. I really like this album. I mean, Summer '68. Rick Wright's vocals are incredible on that. Adam Hart Mother is like what, 20, 25 minutes long?
23.
23.
And Fat Old Son, like Al mentioned earlier, man, it's a great Gilmore tune. If is another great song.
It's a fantastic song by Roger.
Definitely not a dud on this one. And like you said, I don't understand the album cover. I'm sure they have a meaning for it, but 1 cow in front and 3 in the back. Maybe each member of the band was a cow. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Roger's already asserting his.
Yeah, right.
Roger on the front and
right, and you 3 go in the back.
But anyway,
if you really think about it, I mean, when Sid was the leader, and then when Sid was out,
that was it.
I mean, wasn't like Roger was already becoming like the head figure, but he was slowly and surely taking over that role. You know?
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
feel like
Yeah.
he's the deciding factor in not picking him up for like the first
Yep.
show they did without him. He's the one
Yeah.
who said, "Just
And
don't
some of the
bother."
stories you hear
Don't
about,
pick them up.
and some of the
Yeah.
stories you hear about Sid doing concerts is just weird. Like he'll just
Well, he just like
You
they
just
hook a
sit on
guitar
stage
on
and
him and
stare.
walk him on stage.
you just sit there and
Like-
just stare on stage, not sing or anything, just sit there and stare.
Yeah,
He's strumming like
Yeah.
one chord or something.
yeah.
What a shame, though, man. I mean,
Yeah, you know.
It's sad because like I do think he's a brilliant musician and writer when he was okay, but mental illness is
it is.
Yeah.
And it was
mental
cool.
illness-
The band took care of him too. You know,
Yeah,
I
mean,
they
what-
still gave him money and everything.
Yeah.
Like he got
Well,
all his
yeah.
royalties.
yeah, and then when Sid did his solo stuff, I mean, Gilmore helped him out, and,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, he did go
Produced
and
it
do
and
stuff
help-
for him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the
Yeah.
Madcap? What something?
the Madcap laughs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what was,
I can't think of the other one.
I forget the. I
I
forgot
have
the.
them too.
Which is kind of weird. The only guy that helped him was his replacement in the band.
Yeah, yeah.
They were also great friends.
Yeah, they were right. Yeah, they
to begin with, so he was already working with them. And then, if you really hear, Gilmore pops up with a lot of different artists as a producer,
Mhm.
or just playing as a session member without,
He's on a
So he
ton of
does a
stuff.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is completely different from Roger. Roger really didn't do that much with other people the way that Dave did.
Yeah, Roger was on Howard Stern a while back. He said if people wanted him to get up and jam, he says, "I just don't know any songs except for mine, so I can't really play or jam with anything." You know? So,
Okay.
So am I going now?
Yep.
Number 9.
Okay, again, like I don't have a physical copies, but I'm going with the album More. You guys touched on this already. I think Jerry did, right? Did anybody else pick
yeah,
that
he
one?
got it.
And
Yeah,
Andy,
I
yeah.
did too.
Okay. Yeah, More. This one's a little higher on my list because I really enjoyed this. The Nile Song is like one of the most kick-ass songs.
It really is a kick-ass song.
It's like a metal song. It's
It
so
is, dude.
weird.
It's like
It should be on like a Sabbath album or
Sabbath
something. I
album,
mean,
yeah.
it's such a different song.
It's like the first time I heard it, I said, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"It's still Pink Floyd." Who
I
did
listened
the
to it
album?
earlier and I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute, is it still on Floyd? Like, you have Spotify on and
Yeah.
it still pops something on and I'm like, oh, this is still Floyd. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
yeah.
You're like, "Wow." Yeah.
Green is the color, Cymbeline,
Mhm.
Cymbeline, whatever
Mhm.
you want. But I mean, there's some good stuff. And like I said, man, I have the bootleg of this movie somewhere on DVD. I gotta dig it out. I think I have that one, and
I want to watch it. I looked it up on Just Watch and they have it. You can watch it on the Criterion channel.
There you
I'm
go.
like, I might do a free subscription on there just to watch it.
Yeah, check it out, man. I mean, I gotta dig it out and watch it too. So.
Yeah.
just,
Criterion has it streamable in HD for free if you subscribe.
But yeah, I'm not gonna throw too much on it. More is gonna be my number 9. I don't want to,
Yeah.
hold. We're kind of already going over an hour already here. So.
Yeah, it's all right. This one we should have known it's going to be a long one. It's 15
Yeah,
albums.
It's Pink Floyd. You can call
Yeah.
this show whatever. With this last song on metal,
The Echoes.
I
The
can't think of
Echoes.
the song now.
The Echoes episode.
Echoes. There you go. This is the echoes of podcasting here.
Yeah. Yeah. This
And that's
one's
good
the Adam
work,
Hurt
bro.
Mother of podcasts.
And that's because Mark bowed out of this one. Imagine if Mark was
Oh,
here with
shit.
us.
Oh, we'd be here for 4 hours.
Yeah, we'd be here for a long time.
That's all
Hey,
right. We
listen,
always
man.
have fun together for 3 hours whenever we're hanging.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
I got
man.
nothing better to do, so I'm cool.
I got nothing better to do either.
Yeah.
It's like friends just sitting around talking music,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
We're
I've
sharing
been.
a beer. We're hanging.
Yeah,
There we
this
go.
is what I've
There
been
you go, Kate. Yeah, there we go.
telling my wife.
There you go.
I don't know how this is going to sound towards other people or other podcasters. My views, the amount of views that I get, really doesn't bother me. I have really
Yeah.
resorted to this being friends,
Yep.
chit-chatting once a week about the music that they love.
The way we used to do it when we were kids, man.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, you'd have like 2 or 3 friends over your house.
yeah, with a boom
Put
box.
on an album, or everyone would bring an album. You put on an album.
We would drink
and
Cokes, and now we
Yeah.
drink beers.
Yeah.
You know?
That's I have a couple local Michigan buddies that I do that with still. Just put albums on the whole time we're hanging out and talking, and Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah,
I have so much fun with it.
and this is what I love about it. So this is great. I told my wife already this is gonna be a long one, so
I always feel like we're on a road trip, kind of. You ever you get in the car with buddies and you're jamming and hanging out and talking,
I have a feeling
what I
our
feel
top
like.
3 or 4 we're going to be talking about for a long time. So
Yeah, that one's going to be the top 5. I feel like all of us will have similar top 5, and
I think so too.
that'll be some good talking.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is already great talking.
Yeah.
Who's next? Kate?
What are we on, number 9?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did Animals, number 9. Concept album.
Yeah.
He's basing it off of Orwell's Animal Farm. Have you all ever read Animal Farm? Like, did you have to read that in school?
Orwell, yeah.
Yeah, George Orwell. So
I think I died. No, I'm kidding.
It's an interesting, bizarre album. Orwell's big on, dystopia, weird
Think about
communism-ish.
Think about how relevant that album sounds today, though.
Oh my gosh,
Oh, God,
it's pretty wild. 'Cause I just went to
especially.
see Roger Waters like last week, and some of the shit he's
I'll be seeing him soon.
super intense. Because we were talking, I was like, oh, maybe we should be a little altered to go to the show. And I was like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't want to be too weird. And we go, I'm like, holy shit, I'm glad I did not do any drugs because I would have freaked out.
Yeah, when I
He's so
saw
intense. Yeah.
man, his political rant.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro.
He gets super intense when he's talking about this. He is
Hey, he's very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man.
I don't blame him. I mean, he's been through some shit. Like, you think about all his albums, and especially like The Wall and Final Cut, where he's talking about his dad dying in World War II. Like, he has reasons to be super intense about war and poverty that's happening in the world and all the different fallout that's going on in certain countries. So
yeah,
I get why he is very passionate about it and very passionate about like people's rights and things that are going on right now.
Yeah.
So if you are of a certain political party, I highly recommend skipping seeing Roger Waters.
He'll go right here in Nashville, Tennessee, and let it all out. He don't care.
Yeah. He doesn't care. Detroit, he was really intense, man. Whew.
Yeah, I saw Roger. I saw Roger in his last tour, and he skewered Trump on that tour. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, actually, I had tickets for that, but COVID canceled it. Actually, he's coming back.
Yeah, because that's how I ended up going to this. This should have been 2 years ago, and he canceled, and then he finally came this time. And I called an Audible that day and was like, "Let's just go down there and buy tickets at the door," and got tickets for $40. I'm like,
they're not bad. They're reasonably priced for something like that.
And that wasn't even nosebleeds. Like, I was at the bottom of the, I don't know, it was at the Little Caesars Arena,
too,
so
right?
it's like upper bowl, but I was at the bottom of the upper bowl for $40. Was cool. So
this tour, he's in the round, right?
This is like a big T. Yeah, you get the whole 360, and then he has this big screen that's like a cross, and you can see everything that way. So both sides are projected on.
Yeah,
it was really cool setup.
He does some great stage show stuff.
Yeah, he's really awesome about thinking about how he wants a show set up, and then just like visual effects. Like Detroit got ripped off. We didn't get the flying pig. I was really bummed that we didn't get the pig. And then he goes the next night in Chicago, and a friend of mine posts that he's there and he's got the pig. I'm like, damn it. But he was awesome live. His voice is still really good. His band kicks ass. They are a super tight band. Yeah. Very, very good.
And like I was telling Kate about the show, he's in great shape.
Mm-hmm. He's still zipping around the stage and running around. I'm like, dude, how old is he? He's like
75.
Mid-70s. Mid-70s. Yeah.
And he's in great shape, so
still in really, really good shape. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, just we were just talking about like the whole political thing. I mean, listen, man, if I hated artists because of their political views, I wouldn't go see half the people I love.
Exactly. There's so many artists.
I kind of just separate that bullshit from me, man. When I saw Roger on the last tour, I was like, all right, dude, I know you hate the guy. You're going a little overboard. but I'm like, whatever, it's your view, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm here to enjoy the music.
Well, see, it's like, you should expect that. It's like if I'm going to go see Ted Nugent, I'm going to hear a lot of
You're going to hear
it's going to be in your face.
But see, I don't care. I love Ted's music. So
yeah.
I wish they wouldn't talk about that shit because I go to concerts to get away from that shit. But
that's why I listen to music. Yeah.
But a lot of bands are like that. I mean, Pink Floyd has always been kind of political in a way.
Well, and a lot of bands,
Roger has. So
a lot of bands at that time, like you have to think that it's like coming out, and your formative years are during, like Vietnam, and they obviously were pretty outspoken about that and things going on in the world. So that's just like been set in their mind. Yeah. So to not say anything now, it'd be really weird to not be.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Listen, man. It's like artists write songs about their views, man. It's like it's their interpretation. It's their what they feel. I to me, artistic freedom should never be fucked with, man.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Our cancel culture is really interesting time to be an artist or a comic, or
and I'm glad that there's still artists out there that don't give a shit about that cancel culture shit. They still push the boundaries, and you're gonna piss people off, but fuck it, dude.
But they're the fans that it's like, who cares if you lose people like that? Like, are they really big fans? Did they ever really listen to your music? Like, I'm on a like John Prine fan page on Facebook, and people all the time will be bitching about people posting political stuff, and it's like, have you ever listened to a John Prine song? Every single song, like almost half of his repertoire is all political shit, like anti-Vietnam, pro-choice, this, that, the other. People are like, oh, he never did this. It's like his whole life was political, and people are crazy if they think he's not. Right. It's just wild.
People don't pay attention to lyrics most of the time.
It blows my mind because I'm so into lyrics and like what they actually mean, or like especially like Floyd. Obviously, there's a lot of cryptic stuff behind everything in a lot of Floyd songs. So it's like, it just blows my mind when people don't read into lyrics, or like, that's why I love having an album. You can like open an album and look at the lyric sheet and
study it.
I feel like so many kids now get robbed of the full enjoyment of an album because they aren't actually experiencing it, or like looking up the lyrics, or you guys know what I mean. You guys,
that's when you learn,
you guys get it.
That's when you learn about the members of the bands, their names and what.
Yeah, I want to know their names. I want to know what they're doing, like who does what and who's singing on this song. You have like a couple different vocalists, and you want to know whose voice it is. You're like, oh, that was really killer, whoever did this song. And but I feel like you just don't get it.
But y'all were talking about musicians and politics and stuff. But who are the voices of today's bands? We always hear about the stalwarts still talking about politics. There are no new bands out there when they've had almost past 5 or 6 years that they can sing about or do a movement about. But nobody does it anymore. Musicians, like today's musicians, they're scared of it because the media would jump on it.
It's the cancel culture thing. Like, people don't want to say anything.
Yes, and they're afraid. And we have to look to the Neil Youngs and to the people from that were battle awards of the 70s still doing it today. But new bands won't do it. There's so much pop music going on right now that they can put their ideals out, but they don't. I mean,
Kate nailed it right in the head, man. The whole media bullshit, cancel culture, and
you have to be a filtered version of yourself. Like, that's so many comedians right now getting slammed, and it's like they said this thing is a freaking joke. Like, what? That's literally their job, to make jokes, and people are like, "Oh, they said something and it was racist," or or they're. And it's like, that's literally their job. Like, what? Like, people don't come to my clinic be like, "Oh, that cat thing was wrong. I'm going to cancel you because this cat thing." And it's like, what? It's just mind boggling. And people side with them. That's
people let this happen.
It just makes me so mad. There's certain jobs that I feel like you have like carte blanche, and that's like being a musician. Like, unless you literally were being like a piece of crap and physically harming someone, like verbally, come on, you can grow up and like ignore words. Words aren't hurting anyone,
and that's fine. If they
just
want to make
blows my
things
mind.
better, make things better in the future, not the things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And then this cancel culture or whatever it's called. But what else are you going to do to help these people? Are you just going to complain about a movie and a song that were made 20 years ago? But what else are you going to do for them? I mean, are you done now? You know?
You mentioned the cancel culture thing with newer music, and I can't help think about that disgusting song that not Nicki Minaj, it's Cardi B.
Wow.
Wow. How the hell was that allowed to be played everywhere?
Because they wanted it to be that, like, it was in everyone's face, like, F you, we're doing this song, and it's going to be obscene. And that's, like, something that I don't like that kind of music personally, but I give them props and being like, screw you, like, we're writing a song about women and being like, whatever, you know.
But there's so much less.
It's amazing that it hasn't been canceled, but that was like the whole point of it. I think was trying to get canceled.
Oh, it's not going to get canceled.
Yeah,
it's not.
I had to go out and make sure I had to go buy Blazing Saddles, all those type of movies, because they're going to be gone soon. You're not going to be able to buy them anymore.
Yeah,
the old,
well, and that's just
Looney
like
Tune cartoons with the Roadrunner. I mean,
there's a lot of old Disney stuff that's going.
Like,
there's so much old Disney stuff that's canceled and different things. Like, and it's like cartoons. Like I get Song of the South and different stuff. Like, yeah, but you have to think of the time when it was written.
It's a whole different time.
That's like canceling like Tom Sawyer. Like,
yeah.
It was the time that it was written. I'm sorry that that's how things were. Like, that sucks, but we obviously are different than that now. We're not like, you know,
humanity evolves, man.
Some people are like that now, but that's trying to teach, you know, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
I think Two Live Crew should come back out.
Yeah, Two Live Crew would rock people's worlds.
Am I really going to paint a tunnel on a rock and try to run through it? You know?
Yeah. Am I really going to hit somebody with like a bolt, like one of the like weights that's 1,000 pounds?
I think the bottom line is that all these people that want to erase like this history and like all this stuff, you know, there's that famous line, you know. We are, you know, history, you know, we are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
You know, if
you don't learn from it, you
have to
doomed
learn
to
from
repeat
it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You want to not teach kids in school about Hitler and all that stuff.
It happened.
You know, you have to.
Like, I'm sorry, it's scary and upsetting, but
you
people need to understand.
Then they understand, so that way it doesn't happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's just bottom line, man. That's how I think. You know.
I think we're all in a similar.
Okay, slavery happened, man. You know, I mean, the Holocaust happened. I mean, listen, we learn, we evolved, and we move on, and we make a world better. You know, and
I think it's even worse and a disservice for the people who went through that to not even talk about it.
And not teach that. And there's all those people, anyone who suffered that, or their, you know, obviously their ancestors.
Yeah.
For any of those situations, it's just insane to me to not bring that up and not teach those things in school. They like literally whitewash things and like, oh, we aren't that bad. Like, America's done a lot of really bad shit. Like, we need to make sure we don't do these things anymore. Yeah.
Great country that we still are.
Yeah.
In our country, so
yeah.
We've made our mistakes.
We need to make sure we don't do any of that stuff again. Like, that's the biggest thing in like teaching any of these generations. And that's music to me is such a huge way to preserve different historical things, like especially we're talking about a band that comes out during Vietnam, and a lot of their stuff is covering different things about like World War II and that, obviously. And I don't know, I just think it's so important. There's so many things with music that we can all talk about and bring light to situations.
You know, like Grand Funk Railroad. A lot of people just love their guitars and think they jam out, but man, they were so anti-war, and very political with their lyrics. It was just insane. But you know,
people miss that. They're like, "Oh, this song is fun." Yeah.
You know. All right.
Where are we anyway?
I am at number 9.
Number 9, I like when we derail though. This is stuff it's relevant to what we're talking about, especially with Pink Floyd, I feel like.
Thank you, Roger Waters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adam Hart Mother is my number 9. It seems like me and Jerry are on the
You
same
guys are
wavelength here.
pacing each other.
Hey, you
on
got
these.
writing on yours. How'd you get writing on yours?
What do you mean?
You got Adam Hart Miller on. Mine don't have that.
Yeah.
Mine just has a plain cow on it. That's it.
What pressing is that one?
Yeah, I wonder what that one is.
That's
Old.
also on the
That's an
Harvest
old
as
one
well.
from the 70s because that's a Harvest label. Like
Yeah, this is still on the Harvest label.
Yeah.
And it's got the little Harvest down here in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how much things are worth or what's this or what's that.
Oh, whatever. You're not selling it.
No, never.
That's probably original or close to a first press, I bet.
This could be
That's on
higher
Harvest.
if it wasn't for Alan's psychedelic breakfast. I don't want to hear eggs and bacon sizzling and coffee being made and poured out. I could do without that.
They like sampling a lot of stuff.
I get it's breakfast
They're
time.
big on sound effects.
But I absolutely love Adam Hart Mother side 1. I love it. It's like it's 23 minutes long, but they're trying to figure out what to do in this song. You know, they go through steps. I think Water's If is a beautiful song.
It is. Yes.
It's a beautiful song. And then Summer 68 and Fat Old Son.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake when I said that. I think I said Summer of 69. That's actually Bryan Adams.
Yeah. No, but you did say 68.
Did I say 68?
Yeah.
68's one of the songs. Yeah.
68.
It does say 68.
And this was produced by Pink Floyd, but also executive producer was Norman Smith. Norman Smith had been with them since the very beginning, since Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. And then, of course, they will move on to Alan Parsons, which we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. But Adam Hart Mother is my number 9. Really good album.
Summer 68, ironically, on Endless River, there's an Autumn 68 on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think it's just Rick playing like in some organ in some hall, ain't it?
Yeah.
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 Pretty cool sounding, though.
Yeah.
But that's my number
8, right?
9. No, that was 9.
Jerry will be number.
Now we're going
Jerry's
to number
8. on 8.
Jerry goes to 8 now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Scared by Clouds. It's not about these pictures in the back. Can anybody explain those to me? It's like some woman with these 4 guys in gray masks. I don't know. Weird.
They do some weird covers.
It's
Hypnosis. That one's probably a Hypnosis one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But song wise, man, freaking Free For. I love that song. It's such a happy sounding song, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's depressing as hell, actually.
Yeah.
Childhood's End, man, David Gilmour.
Love that.
Great song.
Love that.
You know, Mudman's all right. That's more Richard Wright. It's okay. What else is on here? What's the deal? I think there's a version of that on Endless River too, I think.
I heard when I saw Gilmour live, he played that too.
Oh, absolutely, Kurt.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Pretty cool too. But yeah, Free For makes this album high for me. I really do dig that song. Got that good open G strumming guitar in the beginning, the acoustic. I love it. Yeah. That's mine.
Well, I want to echo Jerry on this one, dude. My number 8 is also obscured. I'm not going to dwell on it. He touched on all the songs I love on there. Yeah, I heard Gilmour do What's the Deal on live.
Wow. Yeah.
What was great about Gilmour is he really reaches back and he pulls some gems out, man.
Yeah.
Then and he'll do a Sid song,
right?
Which is great. He'll do 1 or 2 Sid songs, which is really cool. And I mean, he really doesn't have to do that, but he does it to pay tribute, which is great in my opinion. So, but yeah, man, I'm gonna go obscured at number 8. Now, yeah, we touched on this before. Also, when Kate picked it, yeah, it's kind of like I feel it's like the bridge between metal and
Dark Side. Yeah.
You kind of heard where they were kind of going, but still, it was still a soundtrack for a movie. Yeah. There's a movie that this is for, so it's.
Yeah, they did several film scores, so it's like thinking about some of these that's more ambient and more instrumental stuff is like
Yes.
you can tell.
Because
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about, they're probably watching a movie while writing this music. Well, this would kind of fit into this scene and whatever, so.
Kind of makes you wonder about the Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah.
we'll talk about that when that album comes out.
Yeah. But this Obscured was an album I didn't get until much later, I mean, obviously when people get into Floyd, they get into the core albums, Dark Side, Wish, The Wall, whatever. Right. And they kind of and I'm guilty of it. I kind of ignored these little in between albums.
I did too.
But damn, man, this is really good, man. 3-4, like you were saying, Jerry, that's awesome, man. Childhood's End, another favorite, so yeah, so that's my number 8, Obscured. Go ahead, Kate.
My number 8, I went with Saucer Full of Secrets. This was lower on the list, but when I listened to it recently, that I was like, I dig Jugman Blues. That's like Barrett's last song he does with them, so I have like a sentimental place about that. And Corporal Clegg's weird, and Saucer Full of Secrets is like one of their songs where they start getting into the long weird.
Oh yeah,
getting weirder. But when I re-listened to this, I really liked Let There Be More Light. I was like, that's a jam, like that. Yeah. I don't know, that was one of those under the radar songs for me that I really like doing these when I go back and listen to all the albums again recently, because I've said before that I listen to them now and it's something totally different to me, and how I place like songs on the album, or like even this ranking the albums, that there's so much stuff that's different in my brain when it comes to this. So it's cool. I like that song a lot today.
Cool.
That's one thing that when we go through these albums again, we find like a new favorite song that sticks out to us,
Yeah, that Let There Be More Light, that one really like made more of an impression on me this time around, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
But go ahead, Andy. You got your number 8?
Yeah, my number 8 is going to be the same thing, The Saucer Full of Secrets. Also on the Harvest. This album here, I really love the title track. We've already talked about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's definitely a big change.
Does yours have the round endings on the corners?
Mm-mm.
No. Like weird round corners.
Huh.
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Does that mean it's a cutout, or?
I don't know.
I'm wondering if that was like
vinyl. I've only been collecting vinyl for the last 6-7 years.
Usually
they'll cut a corner and it's like a damage it out.
No, they're not cut. It looks like it's made that way.
Yeah, it looks like it's printed that way.
No.
Huh.
Yeah.
What label is? Yeah, yours are actually like cut that way. Yeah. What label is that on?
Can you pull records?
Pull the record out, and what's the center label? The actual vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering. They went through a bunch of different stuff. Is interesting because they were on EMI and Tower, Harvest, Columbia, and then their late stuff's on Parlophone. So it's interesting to see what you're getting, and especially the difference between UK and US pressings.
Big Floyd records on it, man. Can you see anything on there?
It has to be reissued, then, right?
Yeah,
it's not an old one.
Is that one of those 2000s ones that had the big? It has like a big black label on it. It'll say like Pink Floyd and all this stats. It's like 180 gram reissue. No, they did a bunch of ones in the 2000s, and those are all on Pink Floyd records.
I don't remember where I got this from exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. The rounded corners are cool because it was made that way.
I got a traffic like that the corners are cut
off.
I
like when you find something that's weird, because I have that like what is that, soft machine, and they actually have the like cogs on it that work. Yeah. Those are cool. And I'm trying to think of some other weird album covers I've had. What's the one that's a lighter? It opens and it's like, it looks like a big lighter and the top opens. I'm trying to think of who put that one out. I can't remember. It's cool looking though. It looks like a Zippo lighter.
A vinyl album?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Damn, I cannot think of who it is. I don't know. I'll have to like Google it, but
Cheech and
their
Chong,
album
right?
cover opens like that. It's
Not
cool.
Cheech and Chong, right?
No, they have some fun ones though. They definitely, and then
rolling
they'll give you the rolling papers
Big
and stuff.
Bamboo. I have that
The
one.
Big Bamboo.
Yeah. I have like the wedding album, and that one's kind of weird too.
Yeah. I recently bought the wedding album probably a couple months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
I
like
haven't
when
heard it yet.
bands do weirder album covers because you can get experimental with them. Like, there's no reason you have to always have it just be the slide. So,
It's called El Cochinos. It's also an odd
Los
album cover.
Cochinos.
Yeah, Los Cochinos,
mhm.
which is like the Dirty Boys or whatever.
Yeah.
When they're in that
Yeah.
car. And if you look at the liner notes, man, Carole King and George Harrison play on those albums.
Dude, they
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong.
Is that what you mean, Kate?
Yeah, what's that?
The Wailers, first album of the
Yeah,
Wailers.
yeah. And it opens like this. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, what were you going to say about Cheech and Chong?
No, they were in with all those musicians, man.
Yeah, that's
No.
crazy. I never knew that. And then,
No,
Yeah.
my friend Steve, he's one of my best friends. He's been a drummer in band. We've been in bands together. And
Yeah.
he's got like 10 years on me. He's 10 years, about a decade older than me, a little more actually. But he has an album by there was a band that Tommy Chong was in called the Vancouvers, and
small ones.
they
I
put
do
out
a big
actually
one because I think he go to his house,
and
go to his room.
went to go meet Tommy
He
Chong.
didn't get there.
He had
Yeah,
Tommy
it's
Chong
trip.
sign it. Even Tommy was like, wow,
How'd you find this?
where'd
Yeah,
you
that'd
find
be
this? Where'd you
such a
get this
trip.
from? You know, and
Wow.
he was in a band called the Vancouvers, and if you look it up, Tommy Chong was in a band called the Vancouvers, and he played guitar in it and everything.
Wow, yeah. That'd be wild. That's like talking about Pink Floyd and like T-Set. And
But they were really part of the counterculture back then.
Yeah.
They intermingled with all them guys, George Harrison and the
Mhm.
Beatles and
Mhm.
all them dudes, man. They were fucking rock stars, man. You know,
Yeah. They were a big deal.
way before Up in Smoke came out when they
Yeah.
only did like albums.
Yeah, when they were
Yeah.
doing their albums, yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's all their like actual like more comedy albums and stuff is like such a different time when
Yeah.
people had to put out an album. And
Yeah.
it's not just like, I don't know. It's interesting because I have a handful of comedy albums, so I have some Cheech and Chong ones and stuff, and I'm like, it's really cool. And that's some of the guys now that I like. They'll put out an actual album.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's
the
really
great
interesting.
thing about Cheech and Chong, they were so different because they just didn't do stand up. They did
For
skits,
their skits, yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
awesome because
Yeah.
nobody else were doing skits like that because they
Mhm.
weren't. There was not a comedy team then.
Mhm.
You know, it was one guy, so or one woman, of course, because we had so many women in the '60s breaking through, like Joan Rivers and others.
Mhm.
But Cheech and Chong, I mean, they did great skits, and you know, the most famous one being Dave. You know, it's Dave there, Dave's not here.
I went to go see
Right.
them in concert a couple times when they got back together.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, and it was awesome, man. I loved it. But when Tommy Chong came out with his book, like I said, my friend and I went to go book signing his,
Yeah,
and it was really cool. Like it wasn't just a typical book signing where you just went in line. He actually had it set up downstairs in the basement of a bookstore. There were seats there. We got to sit, and he actually just told stories about.
oh, that is so awesome.
It was
That'd be
almost
really
like
cool.
a little mini concert, like a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah,
And
wow.
then afterwards, you know, you got to meet him. You got a picture with him, and like I said, my friend had that Vancouvers album where Tommy Chong played on. It was his band.
Mhm.
This was pre, you know, Cheech and Chong, and even Tommy was like, "Man, wow, where'd you get this album?" You know,
That'd be so cool.
yeah. So, but you know, but they were part of that counterculture, man. They were very important and very
Mhm.
friends with a lot of those guys. You know, like musicians. So
And it's so odd that people always think of Cheech and Chong as just a bunch of stoners. It's completely false.
man.
Mhm.
They are geniuses.
And hey, that was good stuff though too. You can't deny it.
oh yeah, of course. But there was so much more.
Mhm.
Like,
Let's make a dope deal. I love that skit.
Yeah.
but like Al was
Officer
saying, you know,
from the FBI, you're busted. Great stuff, man.
I gotta get that Richard Pryor album out to you. It's here. I just have to package it. Okay, where are we at?
Good question.
What did I do? I did Animal. I did Saucer. You did Saucer.
Okay,
I think
we're
that's where we were.
I did
Number
Saucer.
8. So Jerry's
Number 7.
on 7.
Okay. I love this album. I'm a David Gilmour nut swinger. I don't care what anybody says.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
I freaking love every song off this album. I mean, I agree with Andy that the side 2 is a little, it's a little lost, but man, this is chock full of great songs, man. Learn to Fly, Dogs of War, On the Turning Wave. It's a beautiful song.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, One Slip, and then Sorrow. Man. I love how they just do Sorrow with the lasers and him playing that intro in the beginning live.
Yeah.
Laser effect.
Oh yeah, man.
This is the new version too. I actually still haven't opened it yet. Listen to it. I hear it's like you play it on a 45, right? 45 speed.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's a 45. It's a 45 pressing. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love this album. And another note, I'm going to go see in a couple of weeks. I don't know if you ever heard of this cover band called Floyd.
Oh, I heard that they're awesome.
I've heard that's really, really good.
Dude, you get a chance to see them do it. They do it justice, man, and they do it awesome. You know,
wow.
I recommend it. If you get a chance to see them do it.
You see, is that worth buying if I already have it? Because sometimes I want to buy that new one, but then I put it down because I tell myself, well, I've already got it.
Right.
That's why I hate when bands do this shit. I really do. I end up with 10 different versions of the same album. I hate that, but with Pink Floyd,
Well, it's a
I'll buy
complete
everything.
remix, man.
Yeah.
I'd say. I mean, if you love Floyd, I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It gives you a whole fresh perspective on the album. You know, they kind of took out the kind of 80s production.
It is big time 80s. I was just thinking about that.
I think Nick Mason recut like drums on that with real, because I think on the original version, I think there's actually a couple different drummers on it. I don't think Nick is the only.
No, it's not. It's
I think Rick was still a session musician on this album too. If I remember.
Yeah, he was still a session. Yeah, because in the original one, like the only Gilmour and Mason were pictured in there.
Right,
yeah, they were. And Carmen and PC and Keltner are the other drummers on there.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that awesome bass player from he's in Peter Gabriel's band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't think of even April Wine. I think
he did the tours with them too and everything.
Yeah, because he stayed with them.
Chapman stick thingies, whatever they're called.
Oh, you're talking about Tony Levin?
Yeah, Tony Levin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the touring bass, Guy Pratt.
Guy Pratt. No, Guy Pratt actually. I think didn't he do Nick Mason's too?
He's doing Nick Mason's Sauce Full Secrets now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great bass player
on this album, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But I love it. You know, people say, oh, it's not Waters, it ain't Floyd. I said, I think
that's cool, man. I know I said it before, but like I was saying, man, like that album came out when I was in high school, so it was my sweet spot of really like discovering Floyd and all that, and it's like, wow, man, Floyd, like they were like this old band that kind of weren't around anymore, and all of a sudden now they're back. So it's like a whole new generation of kids were like discovering them.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
like,
it sounds like Gilmour solo. What's it supposed to sound like?
well, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Sound like David Gilmour.
It just didn't have that Waters.
I understand that. I'm just messing around.
Yeah.
But it's like, you hear that all the time. It's like, what do you want him to do? Sing, freaking Nobody Home or something like that?
And it's weird that y'all mentioned Richard Wright being, a session player, because now when I look at it, his name and type is smaller than Nick Mason.
Yeah, the first one,
and that's crazy. It's not equal to David and Nick.
Yeah,
it's weird.
That surprised me actually. I don't know what was going on. It must have been some legal shit or something. I don't know.
I think it was some legal stuff, man.
They let him in on the division bell, So
yeah, well, he came back on the division bell, but I think Richard Wright's wife, like, I don't want to say begged, but asked if he could be a bigger part of the division bell. And of course, he performed and wrote a song on there, which was a fantastic song. But I'll talk about that later, much later.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. Yeah. But like I said, it's there's no bad Floyd in my opinion. So
All right. Well, my number 7 is going to be Saucerful. This is cool. Like my friend actually gave me this. My friend Steve, that's the drummer. This is actually on that Tower label.
Mm-hmm.
See a Tower label there?
Oh yeah, huh?
So it's a bit of a different pressing. I love this album too. You know, Set the Controls on here. Corporal Clegg's cool. Saucerful Secrets. Jugman Blues is the last Sid Barrett thing that he did.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really cool. I mean, it's out there, but I like out there shit. You know what I mean? And like Kate said, Let There Be More Light. That's a cool opener track, you know. Remember a Day. I mean, back in the day, I really dug into this album a lot. You know, this
It's
is
a good one.
I love early Floyd, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number 7. So it's a bit like it's right in the middle of like my Floyd fandom there. You know, this one. So I won't dwell on it too much, man. It's my number 7. A lot of great playing on there, though. I dig what Gilmore brought to the table, you know. And like you guys said, I mean, who knows? They wouldn't have been as big as they were, like if hadn't Gilmore, you know, got in there. I mean, well, I mean, you just can't. You don't know.
You never know.
Yeah, you don't know.
If Sid Barrett didn't lose his mind, maybe they would have. I don't know. Like I really, you can't predict, you know. But
and then what if Roger really got his hands in there with no intersection with Dave? You know, how far would they had gone, and how serious or how moody would their music had been early on?
Yeah,
you know, would we had gotten the final cut in 69 or 70?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they played like 2 gigs as like a 5-piece. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then they didn't pick.
They just didn't pick him up.
They just go by his house.
Shall we not pick Sid up today?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is, you know, is history. So you know,
he talked about that at the show. Like he had a thing in the show specifically about it, and I was like, "Damn, cold blooded."
Yeah, so I'm gonna be seeing Roger soon. So
I don't want to give too many spoilers.
Don't wanna be,
I hope you get the pig, though. I do.
All right. I'll definitely give a review on it. I'll probably even record the show. So
yes,
yeah, it's one worth doing the recording because it was really, really good, and the visuals and everything are really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming here. He's coming to Austin, but
it's a bit of a drive. Yeah,
it's about 2.5 hours, and it's a weekday. You know, I gotta get off work at 5 and drive up there.
Hey, Kate, real quick. So what's the story on the Tower label? Is that like a UK pressing?
When the Tower was the US label.
Okay.
When all those really, really early releases, it's Tower's the US label because they were on EMI in the UK.
Okay.
And then there's some stuff that like Harvest and Columbia they'll switch over, and then like their really late stuff like I think Division Bell and Endless River are on Parlophone. As Momentary Lapse of Reason Parlophone. I don't have a copy of it. That might be on Parlophone too. But that early stuff's on Tower. So you could have like a really early press of that Saucer.
Yeah.
It's in nice shape. I don't know what pressing that is, but Tower for sure is their early US stuff is what that came out on.
It's got $1 written down on here.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah. And those are older. The ones that have that like white edge on them are older covers. So I know that
the cover is actually pretty beat up. It's split and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's okay. It's still good.
I think the vinyl's actually in really good shape, though.
Yeah, it looked nice, and your labels and stuff were nice. Yeah. But that looks like an older pressing. I don't know. I definitely anything with that white edge around it definitely is like an old like 60s prior to 70s. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My Momentary Lapse of Reason is by CBS.
Huh.
And
weird. I don't know. Maybe they got picked up by them for something. It's funny. I don't know.
Columbia.
Yeah. Yeah, the Columbia makes sense because that was like they're split with Tower. They signed with Columbia.
Yeah, because it's got CBS like all over the place.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I know it's interesting to see all these pressings and like especially a band like Floyd where it's like decades of stuff, and then they
Yeah,
sign
we
with
were already
different
talking about
people,
different
and
labels and stuff. That's,
you're going on a
pretty cool.
different tour, and then someone will sign you for whatever, and they give you an advance to make an album. Like
Yeah.
that's how they would be able to even make an album, that they sign and get like, at the time of like whatever $1 million at the time, it'd be ridiculous. So I was reading some of the stuff about these and like the pressings, and reading about when they split off from whatever company and sign, and then UK to US makes a difference too. It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we at? We're at 7.
You're number 7. Yep.
Are you all done now?
Yes, I'm done. I'm sorry.
You're good. No, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure you got to say what you wanted.
Go ahead.
I went with more. I'd never really listened to this one. This is another one that flew under the radar for me, that like we all talked about, kind of the ones that we ignored because we were listening to the like most popular stuff. But it's cool that it's a film too. I want to watch this movie now. Nile, like I said, man, that's like metal. It sounds like a Sabbath song or something. It was really cool. Green is the color. Nobody really mentioned that one, I don't think, but Green is the color is like more bluesy. So I dug that song a lot when I listened to this. This is kind of a really different album for 1969, and a very different album from Piper and Saucer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Very different, yeah.
And then going into like, they dropped this, and then the same year they dropped Umaguma. So I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know. They had some heavy hitters in like that 10-year span. How I was saying, they just really are busting albums out is wild, especially to drop 2 albums.
It's amazing how so many artists put out 2 albums a year.
Yeah, because I could see if it's like, it's like Umaguma's like a half live, half studio, but it's like 2 full albums. It's not just like it's a handful of songs are live, a handful of songs are studio. And I'm like, man, 2 albums in a year is, and a tour. Yeah, like you said, like that's pretty intense scheduling.
Man. It's insane how the schedule. These guys
how hard they worked.
I mean, you think about it, back then there was no MTV, there was none of that like media. I mean, to get everything was word of mouth pretty much.
And well, and that's having like a kick-ass promoter and stuff going on like that, and like, that's any of the clubs that you go to or any of the places you're playing, like you need a good promoter, and you need that word of mouth, and you need everything like in an actual newspaper and put on the radio for shows to fill up. Like,
bands would be touring, and then like
people don't even know.
And done with the tour, take 2 weeks off, and then boom, right back in the studio.
Back on tour and back in the studio.
Bang out an album in like 2 weeks, and then tour again. It's like.
Well, and the cool thing then was like throwing out a single. Like you'd get something done really quick. You'd be able to throw out your single, and that's a lot of your press for the actual album coming out, which people don't do that now. Really, like you still see some genres really are big on singles, but a lot of bands don't really do that anymore.
Yeah. And I think a lot of bands did write a lot of writing on tour too. They would be touring for an album, and then during the tour, they'd be on their downtime writing their new album. When
you're driving for hours and hours and hours, you can like noodle something out, and then you can talk to the guys and be like, hey, like, what do you guys think of this? So it's cool. It's different.
I know that's how Rush did it. Like, cause I know a lot about Rush history.
Wait, you like Rush?
No, well, like their touring schedule was hectic, and
theirs is pretty wild.
So they would in the early tours they were driving around in a station wagon, and it'd be in the back strumming acoustic guitars while Neil was writing lyrics along to it, and and they would
playing drums on the dashboard.
and they would use their sound checks as like time to write songs, and they said that they would record all of their sound checks, and during sound checks they'd use that as a
reference for later.
Riffs and stuff like that. It's just amazing. Like these guys
kills me when a band can write stuff on the fly like that. Like, this I thought about this, or like McCartney always talks about how he dreamed of something. He's like, I dreamed of this. This came to me in a dream, and then it's like,
Keith Richards,
Like,
I think
some of those dudes,
the Satisfaction riff. I think the Satisfaction riff, or somebody dreamt about it. He woke up, and then he had a little tape recorder or something, and he played the riff right into the.
And just
wouldn't forget it. It's
that
crazy,
would be so wild.
it's just, you know, like creativity, man.
Yep.
You know.
And it's funny because my wife was just telling me she had read this, and it kind of coincides. You know, Beyonce's coming out with her new album. I think it came out last week.
Already, right?
Yeah, it was out last week. But there's 107 different songwriters, or like 107 different people contributed.
How do you
writing
coordinate
to this album? Because I remember I was.
Well, I think somebody who gets coffee now gets put down as producer.
Yeah.
And it's like 7 or 8 writers per song. Dude, that's crazy.
They have the participation award of
We
song
were
making.
just talking about the creativity of these bands that,
Yeah.
you know, put out their heart and their feelings. And here these days, we've got these pop artists that just sing other people's thoughts or other people's.
Yeah,
what
well,
they
that's all
stand
the people
for,
that
or-
get super famous doing everyone
Yeah.
else's songs, where it's like, oh, well, how many songs did Dylan write for people that he never gets credited, like
Yeah.
people don't even think about? And, you know, there's a bunch of different lyricists and people that do that, and it's like they never get credit for a song, you know?
But now everybody wants a little
And
piece of
that's-
the pie of something.
Yeah, that's so
But
wild to me.
107 songwriters, or whatever they want to be called,
Which is insane.
maybe songwriters is a
Yeah.
stretch. But you
I
know
guess-
what?
I think I'm credited on that album too.
You're on there?
Superman.
I guess Beyonce doesn't need any more money, so they're
I mentioned
splitting
the
up.
word the.
splitting up the
and they said, "That's a good
royalties."
idea." I'm going to put
That
the word
sounds
the.
about good here.
I saw her. Funny thing to think about, when I was a little idiot child, that I saw her when she was in Destiny's Child.
Oh, really? Did you?
She is a talented performer. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
Oh,
my
yeah.
kind of music at all, but definitely a talented performer when I saw her. And that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. I do have a CD of hers that I do enjoy.
Yeah,
That I do enjoy. Yeah.
we'll allow it. It's okay.
I actually thought the other girl had a better voice, in my opinion. Kelly Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
as pretty as Beyonce, though, but I guess.
See?
I don't know.
Exactly.
She didn't marry.
Looks make a difference when you want to be a.
Who'd she marry?
Who?
Beyonce.
Jay-Z,
Jay-Z.
Yeah, she's married to Jay
I mean,
Z.
you have
Which
to
is
have
what-
money backing you up. That's
which is one of the worst rappers in my opinion. God, he's one.
kind of loaded, though, man.
That is
Oh.
bad, man.
Yeah, I have a couple friends that, like, you used to go to a party at their house, and that's all they would listen to the whole party. And
He
I'm
was
like,
bad.
we stopped going to their house. Like, I
That's
can't
'cause I
stand
like
this.
rap.
too.
I like rap, but that
I
was
like
one
hip
of
hop
the-
and stuff, but I don't know.
But that was when
I
hip
never
hop
got-
started to go down.
I never got the whole Jay-Z thing, man.
Yeah,
Nuh-uh, I
I
never
don't get
did
it
either.
at all.
Like after it seemed like he kind of became the default. After like Biggie and Tupac died, all of a sudden like Jay-Z kind of
Yeah.
got
He
like
got
this
out of nowhere
wall.
because they had nobody else.
And I'm like, it was kind
He's
of like
no Biggie or Tupac.
yeah.
I
To me,
don't
that's
get it.
to me that's kind of like where I kind of end like in hip hop. After
Yeah.
those two died, like it lasted maybe another 2-3 years for me, and then I kind of bowed out. I'm like, it's not for me anymore. You know, I still
Yeah.
listen to the classic stuff,
Yeah.
but hip hop post 2000 pretty much. Yeah. You
Yeah,
know?
I stopped at in fact I never got into either a big I'm sorry, Notorious B.I.G. or a Tupac. I was already checked out of rap.
Yeah, I was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was all like, yeah, I don't understand. You know, Tupac sounds hard and then he's dedicating shit to his mama. I'm like, oh, I don't understand what you're going for here. You know, it's either you're hard or you're not. Which one is it?
You
I
can be
guess
hard
you're
and
both. I
love
don't
your
know.
mama.
Yeah, I know.
It just kind of
but-
showed the diversity of him. You know, it was,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Well,
it's not for everybody.
What was,
Man.
what was that band Tupac was in? Had that lead singer with the funny nose?
Digital Underground.
Digital Underground.
Yeah.
Humpty?
Yeah.
I kind of liked them. They were kind of funny. They were kind of fun, but
Humpty's
Yeah, they did
funny.
that song for that.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
when hip
Chevy
hop was
Chase
fun,
movie.
man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's when it was fun. Like
Yeah,
back
I
in
like
the day,
goofy
you know?
hip hop stuff like that.
The Humpty Dance.
the Humpty
Yeah.
Band. That's it. And they were on Digital-
I
Come
love
on,
that
man.
album cover, that
Come on, man.
cartoon
You throw that
cover.
on a party, people are going to get into it. Man.
Yeah.
But
You know,
that,
They're in that movie with Dan Aykroyd too. I can't remember. Yes.
Mhm.
yeah, I forgot the name of the Nothing to Lose. I think was the name of the
Nothing but
the
trouble.
movie. Nothing but trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that first album by them Sex Packets, It was awesome when it came out. Man, hip hop there in the late 80s, early 90s.
That's the golden era, man.
Shit. You know, that's when America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube came out, when he broke off with NWA. America's Most Wanted, and then he came out with that EP, Kill at Will. I mean, man, that was fun. And then he started making movies. You're like, I don't believe you anymore.
Right.
You know? All right.
Where are we now, anyway?
It's Andy's turn at number 7. I did more.
Okay.
And Andy's on 7.
This is number 7, but this is the last Pink album I got into. You know, it took me a while to get into Obscured by Clouds. But we've already talked about it. I'm just going to talk about this was the last CD I bought by them. I had been hunting for it, and I had seen it, and then a couple of times I said, nah, you know. But then when I did pick it up, I was like, man, why did I wait so long? It's a really good album, and I really like the textures of it. The first 2 tracks, I believe, are instrumentals that are really good. And then what I was saying about this and more was little fragments from a movie soundtrack. This has fully realized songs, and I really like them. Y'all have already picked them out, but Obscured by Clouds is going to be my number 7.
All right, number 6.
Yeah.
Getting to the good stuff now.
Cream of the crop.
You know, love this album. Like Kate mentioned, Fearless is just one of my favorite Floyd songs. Echoes, just amazing. It's a cool ass song. David Gilmour and Rick Wright's voice when they sing together is amazing sounding, man.
Love that. Yeah.
The only dud on this album, I think, would probably be San Tropez.
That one was like
I think about wearing a top hat and a cane and doing that Broadway. But Seamus the dog, I like that. It's a pretty cool tune. But yeah, this is definitely, I think, a connector to the Dark Side sound too, in my opinion.
That album was like kind of like everything was starting to fall into place. I think the sound on Metal. I think the Metal, you know, I know everybody like points to Dark Side, which is, to me, that's kind of, like you said, it's kind of a setup for Dark Side. Like that classic Floyd sound of the 4 of them were really gelling.
They're getting there. You can tell they're getting there. And I feel like people have to split, because concept albums versus regular albums, like people need to really divide that in their mind for Pink Floyd, because it's very different parts of their whole like their whole repertoire is very different when you get into the concepts versus being in like their regular studio stuff. So at least in my mind. But
and I forgot about, you know, one of the best instrumental they have is One of These Days. What a great fucking
it's such a driving force.
Definitely. Actually, I for the longest time, I always thought this was before Dark Side and Obscured was before it. And it kind of seems that progression in a weird way. It almost seems like Obscured should have came before this.
Yeah.
But, you know, I found out later that didn't happen that way. But
right.
But yeah, this is a great record. This is definitely, man, just.
Yeah, I like how different the guitar is on that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right there with you, Jerry. That's my number 6 as well, Metal. Yeah, I mean, I played that album a lot. This is really getting into the cream of my real favorite Floyd albums now. And I spin Metal a lot. I think I spin Metal actually more than Dark Side these days, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll get the Dark Side when we get to it, but yeah, I mean, I don't hate Saint Tropez. I think I understand it's a little different than the rest, but One of These Days is killer.
Yeah.
Fearless is actually a song that I used to do with a band that I was in.
Oh wow!
And I used to love playing that song, man. It's got, I mean, that's just one of those songs where you can just kind of lay back and just let the music like just flow.
It's got that great rhythm.
Yeah, it's got that hypnotic, you know, just great. I love the singing on that, the vocals.
Yeah.
Such an easy song to play on guitar too. You got to do
It
that.
is. Just a couple of chords, and that's really it, And it is a cool '90s alternative band that I really love called Dig, D-I-G, and they do a really cool. They really do a cool cover of Fearless. If you ever get a chance to look it up, the band is called Dig. They do Fearless, and they kind of amp it up a little more. That's a little more like heavier, but still, it's got like that same kind of flow to it. It's still hypnotic. It's still really cool. Like I think they do a great version of it. Going back to the album, Seamus at the end.
Yeah,
it's cool, man. I mean, it's a strong album. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's kind of like their sound is like almost getting there. Like they're starting to really, really gel on here now. You get into the cream of like the Floyd sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number 6. So go ahead, Kate.
My number 6, I went with Final Cut, which this probably originally would have been a lot lower on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing him last week, and then I got home and listened to this all the way through again when I got home. I was like, all right, I really do dig it. It's very dark.
Oh, it's dark.
It's a heavy duty album, but it's one that was another one that I like never really listened to. And then one of my other record buddies sent me a copy of it because Floyd's his favorite band, and that's actually his favorite Floyd album. But hearing a couple of the songs live and then coming home and spinning the whole thing, I was like, all right, this is really a good album. But it definitely is like Waters' first solo album. Like if you would have said that it was his first solo and not a Floyd album, I would have believed that for sure.
To me, that's more of a solo album than any of the 2 Gilmore albums, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I like this better than the other 2 Gilmore Floyd albums. This, I think, is a better album probably, but I like Gilmore solo stuff better than Waters solo stuff.
Well, On an Island is a great record. Around that Locks kid too.
Yeah, I've had a couple of his solos, and I was like, man, he's so good. Like, and I really like him. Like when people pick Waters or Gilmore, that I always am going to side on Gilmore.
Yeah.
But you know how people, like pick your favorite Beatle, pick your favorite Pink Floyd, like and that's I don't know. This one's interesting because the time, like the Falkland Islands are being invaded and that, and it's like a whole other war thing. And he's like, Waters is getting back. I think he had, he obviously has like PTSD from his dad being in the war. Like that's every time something's going on, you can feel it in the music when he gets this album idea because something is going on. And that's like the Falklands are being invaded at this time. And came out in 83.
It's like the movie The Wall. I mean, that's where it starts.
Yeah, and that's you just get that whole. It's so immersive. Like this album, I feel like is another one that like The Wall gets a lot more credit and press because of the film. Obviously, like that's how I found about The Wall was seeing the film, and then I'm like, holy shit, this is a cool album. But when I first was introduced to it, I was introduced to the film. But like he says stuff about Final Cut being like a second part to The Wall.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think about it that way. Yeah. And you can definitely feel that in the music and like how heavy this album is. You can feel that where like it's that like post-war feel, the like post-fallout kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. That's as much as I got to say about that. So Andy, what's your number 6?
I love the inside of this album.
It's cool. Yeah. I love their photos in that one.
Yeah. Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you two, this is going to be my number 6. This one I also have on the Harvest label, but Echoes side 2 takes over all of side 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an amazing song. I mean, it's like 23 minutes or maybe 24. Well, shit. Let me take a look at it.
I think it's such a perfectly titled track for.
And you don't even feel the 23 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's like on Animals, Dogs. You don't feel the 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not once do you say like other songs. You're like, damn, how long is this? You don't say that about Pink Floyd pieces. You just don't. They're just so interesting.
Yeah.
So Echoes, but of course, the other side, one of these days, it's such a driving song. It just soars. It just soars. And then Fearless with just the beautiful melody that it's got, and like I was saying, the singing that goes along with it. They go
Gilmore is very underrated when it comes to vocalists. He's got a great voice.
Yeah, he really does. It's just beautiful. So that is my number 6. I'm echoing the other two guys.
Hey, real quick on Echoes. I remember, back when I was younger, like high school and just out of high school, we used to go to like billiards. Play billiards with a couple of friends. They used to have the jukebox. You used to be able to pick like 3 songs for $1 or something like that. I used to pick Echoes and just piss everybody off because I would pick that one, and because they had metal in
you go and get like Stranglehold or something else that's like 20 minutes.
I look at it this way, man. I look at, if I'm gonna pick 3 songs, I'm gonna get the most bang for my buck.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Whole hour.
I want it to be 10 minutes or longer, damn it.
And in the beginning of Echoes, you hear like the ding.
Yeah.
Like,
that's already starting to piss people off.
and then people will
there's
be like,
certain stuff in Floyd that people do not get.
What pisses me off is that on deep tracks on XM, they play that going into commercials, or when they're talking about thing, and like when they first started doing that, I was like, oh man, I was expecting Echoes to come on.
It's a tease.
Yeah. But it's so funny that Al says that about the jukebox. There's a joke by comedian John Mahoney about how him and his friend would go to this diner. I don't know if it's real, but it's a joke. And they put in all these quarters, and they would play Tom Jones, Hey Pussycat, over and over. And they would sneak in one, it's not unusual, and then go back to, oh, hey there, Pussycat. So funny. But every time when my family and I would go to Pizza Hut, I would go straight to the jukebox, because you would have to wait about 15-20 minutes for your pizza. And I remember my mom would let me put on any songs I wanted, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. All right, hey guys, we are in the
top 5. This will probably be the most WTF moment of the night, I'm sure, for everybody, but I freaking love this album. I don't care what anybody says. This album kicks total freaking ass. I don't care what anybody says. This is so cool. I was listening to the radio, WSHE in West Palm Beach, Florida. Pink Floyd's new album, and they're coming out with a tour. Tickets go on sale. I'm like, yeah! So just the time period itself made it a great album. I didn't even have to listen to it to love this album. But with that being said, you mentioned a lot of songs, but I don't think you mentioned Pulls Apart. That's such a killer song.
That's a good one, man.
The guitar playing in that is just brilliant. And this is like a little more. The band had a little bit more influence in this album. I know Nick has some writing credits. Richard Wright has some writing credits. Wearing the Inside Out, man. Richard Wright, lead vocal on that incredible song. A lot of people shit on this album, but this album fucking rules.
They should
use my language. I'm just passionate about how good it is.
It's a great album, man.
And again, it's got great packaged. I mean, I gotta, you know what's inside of it, but man, it's just underrated gem. I mean, people were like we're trying to figure out there's some kind of mystery with the album cover, or some pot of treasure somewhere buried, or some shit like that. I never got into that part. But,
there's like some sort. I can't remember. There's like some sort of thing, like story about like that.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
They were talking about the Easter Islands, about that album cover, but I just don't know.
Yeah. I never really read into it, but like there's a whole story, this whole like underlying like story or something about like that album. There's like an aura thing or something. I don't know what the hell. I'd have to look it up, man, but I never done.
They're probably just sitting there laughing. So what a bunch of dumbasses out there.
Yeah.
No. This album here, the sentimental value of this album alone just makes it, one of my favorites. So okay, enough about that one.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me.
I gotta go take a restroom break real quick.
I think I'm going to be a little contrarian with this pick. I mean, people will probably be like, really? It's at number 5? But I'm going to go with The Wall. And it's not to say that this is not a great album. It is. I mean, we're in top 5 now. So it's kind of like, I mean, shit, it's cream of the crop. But this is my number 5. A lot of people put this at like number 1, number 2, probably. For me, it's, you know how people will be like, oh, well, it's got a bit of filler on it. But I think the filler works. It's like saying, you know, people say that the White Album has filler on it, but do you really want to take anything off the White Album? No.
Perfect.
It's there. The songs you like more, and then the songs that kind of you don't like as much, but still, it's how I feel about this album. You can't take any songs out, or else the concept wouldn't work. You know, but, it's a depressing album. If you're feeling depressed, it's probably an album that you should.
Don't put that on.
Don't put this on.
Don't put on that or Final Cut.
Yeah, there's pretty dark stuff. As far as the songs, man, I mean, there's so many great ones on here. But like one of my favorites is, and I never hear people talk about it, I love Goodbye Blue Sky.
That's my most played song on that album.
That's probably the best part of the movie too, the animated scene.
Yeah. That one.
I
was obsessed with that song for a while.
Yeah, I love the harmonies in that, and I just love, you know, and it kind of gets dark a little bit, and then it lightens up with the harmonies, and it gets dark again. It's not a long song, but you know, it kind of sets up empty spaces, you know, and then Young Lust and stuff like that. But
that side 2 is phenomenal. That's just
yeah.
I mean, shit, man.
If they would have just added when the tigers were set free, that's in the movie, but not on the album. Oh my god!
And that's on the final cut, right?
Yeah, they put it on the final cut, and you were
I would say that this is probably, you know, top 5 concept album of all time. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say higher than top 5 in my opinion, but
I think for
it could vary. Well,
the album and the film, if you combine it, I feel like that's one of the best ever.
In my opinion.
And combining the tour, the way the tour was, and like I said earlier, technology wasn't really there yet for like the original tour. My friend Steve, like I brought up before, he saw that original tour. He went to Uniondale, New York, Nassau Coliseum, which was one of the stops on that tour. It was the New York stop was not at Madison Square Garden. It was at Nassau Coliseum. So, and there's bootlegs, there's videos of this. I remember having a couple bootleg pro shot shows of this on DVD. And you can watch that stuff on YouTube. But damn, man, like when I saw Roger Waters all these years later, I'm like, really, when you see the concept, his vision of this album come to life on stage, man, I was like, dude, to me, that tour, that show is the greatest show I've ever seen ever live. Like the whole concept of it, the stage show, no Kiss show, none of that shit will ever touch that particular stage show. It's like the number 1 ever that I've ever seen in my life. You know, and I've seen, and you know me, I've seen concerts out the ass, you know, throughout my whole life. I mean, nothing will ever top The Wall, man. Like I feel like it's the greatest stage show concert ever. So, but as far as an album, like it's gonna be my number 5 because I like some more Floyd albums better than The Wall. Yep. But damn, man, it's still one of the greatest concept albums of all time. You know, and Roger Waters is a genius, man. You know, you can't deny that shit.
And it's a concept album that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just not called a concept album. You can follow the story because it is a story.
Yeah.
It's
But I know people will probably think you're crazy having it at number 5. Hey, you know, whatever.
No, but when you get into the 5, mine changed.
The top 5 were hard.
You know how I always say it's like 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah. That's where
it's
it
like
gets
choosing your
hairy. I
favorite
get
sound.
down to like how much have I listened to it.
Yeah.
That's how I
I'm just
decide
glad
on
nobody
these
popped
top
out
ones.
once you
And
hear
like,
at 13 or something like that.
yeah, you didn't
I
have it
didn't
at
expect that to
15.
happen.
Go ahead, Kate. I'm done.
Number 5, I did Piper at the Gates of Dawn as my number 5. I had it lower originally, and then I bumped it up because I listened to it again, and it was like, I really dig this weird, like, this is pretty intense weirdness, 1967 when they
Yes,
first
ma'am.
dropped this.
Mhm.
So I count that as part of why it's in my top 5, is like the true weirdness of when they dropped it. And then, or I should say like originality, but it is very weird
Well, think of
album.
the time frame when it was released. 1967.
That's what I'm thinking about, that I'm like, this is a strange time. Like, and it's just such a bizarre album, and so many of the songs are really weird.
The evolution of music in '67 was incredible, man.
Yeah, and coming into like the psych scene of like this one like kicks the doors off psych. It's just such a bizarre, and getting into all these different sounds and experimenting really with how you can make different sounds on an album, and how and not having a lot of technology to do so.
No.
That's what's impressive to me, is that the limited amount of technology all these bands, especially psych bands, had at the time, and mixing and figuring out how to make different weird things go on.
But it was being true masters of being true musicians.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting to me. And then like none of the guys know how to read music or anything. So that's like such a funny thing to me, how many bands at the time were like that, where it's like just a bunch of dudes who jammed and are like, we're going to really try this out.
Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive to me. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, I like Lucifer Sam is more like surfer punk almost in my mind. And then I think the original press probably doesn't have Bike, and it's like a later release that Bike's an extra song on there.
At the end.
And Bike's one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs. It's just so weird. I love the lyrics to it. It's just like a goofy, fun song. So that's
I had a
why
hamster
this
named
one's
Gerald
up on
at
my
one time in
higher.
my life. I had a hamster named Gerald.
Yeah, I love it. I love Gerald. So that's a big thing of why this is in my top 5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm right along with Jerry on this one. Division Bell's my number 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love this album. When it first came out, I just fell in love with it, and I remember, I know that I couldn't go, but when the Division Bell was touring, it was about the same time as Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion. It was around that same time, because they had come to San Antonio, and it was on Easter, and I knew my mom wasn't going to let me leave on Easter Sunday, so I didn't even get tickets or even ask, because I was still in high school when this came out. But to hear What Do You Want From Me and keep talking on the radio was a treat. But then, I'm going to talk about almost every single track on here. I love this album. I love the way it's written, the way that it talks about relationships, friendships, about just everyday things that we go through. Pulls Apart. I really love the organ parts in the middle by Richard Wright. It sounds like a
like a carnival or something.
Yeah, like a carnival, and then the rain fell slow and just comes back. A Great Day for Freedom. Wearing the Inside Out, another great track.
That's such an underrated track, man.
Take It Back, but still, Take It Back is a really good song too. But my favorite is Coming Back to Life. I love Coming Back to Life. The way that 2-minute acoustic intro, and then the song is just written beautiful, and it ends with a blistering solo.
Yeah.
You don't know. When the first time you heard the song, you didn't know which way Gilmore was going to go. It was going off the tracks, and then of course, High Hopes with the ringing of the bell.
Yeah.
Lost for Words.
Lost for Words is a great song too. Off it. Yeah.
It's just and I know that it was written with his girlfriend at the time or his fiance at the time.
They're still together.
Yeah, and Bob Ezra was completely against her writing so much, but man, it just worked. It
worked.
Perfect, which is great. So that's gonna be my number 5. I sent my list to my buddy this morning, and he texted back, yeah, move Division Bell towards the back. I said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. For me, I love it.
Man, I spun that album a lot, man, when it came out. I really love that album too. Like I said, man, if it was like 25 years ago, that album would probably be probably where yours is at right now, Andy.
Higher, yeah.
It'd be higher because, Momentary and, like I said, Momentary and Division Bell were in, my youthful times of my life where, I really was into Floyd a lot. And then I was discovering the back catalog, besides the songs you hear on the radio. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember hearing Another Brick in the Wall. That was such a big hit. You couldn't escape it. When I came out, I was fucking 8 years old or some shit. And I even remember that song, hearing that on the radio. Basically it had a disco beat to it. It was kind of had a disco beat. If you really listen to it, Another Brick in the Wall has a disco beat to it.
I can just see soldiers marching.
It's almost danceable.
Yeah.
It's almost danceable, you know what I mean? But,
yeah.
But like I said, going back to Division Bell, shit, and now that you guys are really talking about it, I really haven't revisited that album in a long time, and I really want to. I think when I go to bed tonight, I might throw it on headphones and listen to it because I remember that album being really good, So.
And it's completely different from A Momentary Lapse of Reason because, like Jerry was saying, this is truly a Pink Floyd album with Mason and Wright along with him.
Wright is back, right up there,
he's even got a songwriting credit, sings a song. He's a big part with his keyboard,
and he sings on there.
Yeah. It just seems like a true.
Like Jerry said too, man, he's got such an underrated voice. He's a great vocalist in his own right.
Yeah, and the way that he sings, "Wearing the Inside Out," man, just the words and there's the voice in it. You can feel it. It's just a great album, and I love it.
That song arguably is my favorite song. I go back and forth, and I have the favorite song on it. That one's always on the top of the best songs on the album, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I always tell myself it's a top 5 album.
I think Pulls the first one, but then Wearing the Inside Out is definitely probably second.
Yeah. All right.
They never did that live on that tour. They did every song off it except for that one. I'm like, dude, I would love to hear that live.
Which one?
Wearing the Inside Out. They never did that one live.
Yeah.
They did every other song, not on the same tour, but different times they did every song on.
Yeah, but Coming Back to Life is a staple now, I think.
Yeah.
I think, man, maybe I'm wrong, man, but I think maybe when Gilmour did a solo tour,
he did. You're right. He did sing that song.
He had Richard Wright with him, so it was a two of them.
Right.
I think Richard Wright did that song.
They did that song.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's why. I'm so happy I got to see Gilmour, live too, and those two were together, and I saw him at Radio City Music Hall, and it was.
Oh wow, that does sound awesome.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
I never thought that. I'm sorry. I thought that the Division Bell would be their last tour. I thought they'd have a couple more, but I'm glad I got to see that at least. Sorry, guys.
Oh no problem. You're good. Yeah. Number 4, Jerry.
Oh, I put it. The Wall. Is this the album that got me into Pink Floyd? Absolutely, it is.
Yep.
I remember the first 45 I bought was Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
There you go.
And I think One of My Turns was on the B side of it, which is a fucking great song.
Wow.
I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said already? Everything goes together. The movie, the soundtrack. If David Gilmour had as much input in the final cut as this one, final cut would be a much better album.
Oh yeah.
But it was nice to see both of them say, and they said it recently. They said, we may not get along, but we did make good music together. And that is so true
Mhm.
because every song they did together on this album are probably the best songs on the
So
album.
good. Yeah.
Well, no, maybe not. There's a couple like Goodbye Blue Sky, like Al said. But man, like you said, when they're together, they're the best, man. And not the best, but one of the best.
Yeah. I know what you're saying though.
And man, it's hit after hit after hit after hit on this one, man. Run Like Hell, In the Flesh. What else is on it? I think if there's one throwaway song, I'd probably say Vera, but I understand what it's written about. But so it's kind of cool.
Hey, you was big.
I love Nobody Home. I love that song so much, man.
Yeah.
You got cigarette stains on my fingers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just the words on there are cool.
Yeah.
18 channels of shit on the TV to choose from. Yeah.
That one, it's not just lyrically, but the way it's sung is so good. The way they pull that off is just so perfect.
And freaking Hey You, man.
Yeah.
What a great song that is, man.
Yeah.
Why they kept that off, I got the version they cut off the movie with it. Why they did that, I have no idea. But do you guys know why they didn't put that in the movie to begin with?
No, I don't know, man.
Yeah. But they did, and then in the DVD they have that scene, by itself, which is cool. But man, like you said, top 5 concept albums, man. I would argue, I ain't gonna say it, but it's definitely
up there.
I'll agree with you on top 5. Let's just go with that.
All right, man. So my number 4 is gonna be Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Wow.
Yeah. I rate this album very highly. Kate was talking about 1967 before. They were in the same studio recording this album when the Beatles were doing Sgt. Pepper.
Sgt. Pepper, yeah.
Same exact studio at the same exact time. Now think
So
about
wild to think about.
Think about that and like let your mind be blown. Like
walking down that hallway.
Yeah. Dude, I mean,
like, let's pop in and take a peek,
I mean, Sgt. Pepper is a game-changing album, but like, I think this deserves to be up there as like the birth of really psychedelic, rock.
Oh yeah, it's a lot more psychedelic than Sgt. Pepper. That's
Yeah.
Because Sgt. Pepper is more like psychedelic.
I can just imagine, like John Lennon or Paul McCartney walking down the hall and listening to like Lucifer Sam or something. You know what I mean? Astronomy, Domine, and Interstellar Overdrive. Like Kate said, Bike is pretty fucking out there. But I love Syd Barrett. I don't know, man. I love. In the beginning of my Floyd fandom, obviously I never really even knew about Syd Barrett. That was so much in the past already. And, back then we all know there was no internet. There was none of this shit where you can just pull stuff up. Oh, yeah, really? Syd Barrett? I mean, back then I never even knew, Peter Gabriel was in Genesis, until I had like friends tell me about it. But anyway, like I had a friend of mine, like, I was all immersed into like Dark Side and The Wall and Animals and all this stuff. And he's like, dude, check this album out, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. It's their very first album. It doesn't even have Gilmore on it. It's guy Syd Barrett.
You're like, who's that?
I'm like, I
always say the band wouldn't go as far as that, but it definitely wouldn't have started without Syd. So
yeah, of course.
They have that perfect, like, I don't know if it's luck or whatever, but they have that perfect happening of people who are in and out in different timing.
Yeah.
That they've been really lucky all together as a band throughout the years to be still such a big deal too.
Yeah. There's a whole community of real like Syd worshipers.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like, when punk like broke out, Pink Floyd got lambasted because they were more into that progressive rock side. But a lot of the punkers, man, they really loved the Syd Barrett stuff. They really thought like he was like kind of, I wouldn't say he's punk, but like they just respected
the attitude.
him.
But I feel like the attitude of like, who gives a fuck? I do what I want, kind of.
Yeah.
It's a rule breaker in the studio.
It's funny how like the punk rockers, like they really love like the Syd Barrett like era of Pink Floyd and really worshipped it and stuff like that. Anyway, but like,
well, I think like thinking about them doing that at the same time as Beatles doing Sgt. Pepper, it's like the Beatles already are super, super, super famous and can risk
and here
doing
we
an
are,
album
Pink Floyd,
and risk doing something weird where like
Yeah.
Pink Floyd wasn't a thing really, and
Yeah.
that's risky as hell to put out something so bizarre,
First
you know?
album, yeah.
Yeah,
But, like,
especially a first album.
I also want to touch on, because they're not part of albums, but think of all the great singles that they did with Sid.
Right.
That's not even on this album.
Right.
You know,
Not on either album.
Like Andy was saying, I think he has an album called Relics that has like a lot of that compiles.
Yeah,
That album's cover creeps me
that
out.
one's got a bunch more of his other stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
That album cover creeps me out, man.
And then,
I love it. It's so weird.
And I have a CD box set called Shine On, which compiles a lot of their albums, and it had a CD in there called Early Singles or something like that. And man, I listened to that CD so much because it had some great songs on there, man.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, when Sid Barrett was at his peak, and you could think about his peak only lasting like a year and a half. Man, he wrote some great singles. I mean, they were a singles band really at first, but that was an era of singles too. It wasn't until Sgt. Pepper came out where really the album became important. So but that first Piper, dude, coming out of the gate with that's a pretty cool statement by them, and I think it's such a game changer, that album, right along with Sgt. Pepper, So that's my number 4, Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
It's a big part of their history to start to start off the band. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kate.
I think it's just one that like probably doesn't get as much credit as it deserves. I mean, you get the big Pink Floyd heads that it does, but yeah, I don't know. You guys know how I feel. My number 4, I went with Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Wow.
I'm a big Gilmore fan, obviously, like I've said.
You guys are making me feel like crap putting those out.
No, it's all right. Well, and it's like
no, I get it. I get why people are like that, but my response is
however you took it in too. I feel like because that's like you guys saying Division Bell's higher on your list, that came out at a specific point in time in your life that is super important to you, and like this I learned probably later, but it's probably a similar time of like listening to The Wall and Wish You Were Here and that, and Learning to Fly is like one of my favorite songs ever. Like that's probably in my top 100 favorite songs of all time, and that's why this one's high on my list, because a lot of there's a few other songs on here that I'm like, whatever, I wouldn't just put this on, but if I go to like a Floyd song to put on, Learning to Fly is like one of my top 5 played Floyd songs. Right. So that's why this one's higher on my list. But I love that. I love the lyrics to that, the way that song sounds and is all put together. All the instrument work on there is, that's such a good song. And then reading about it and finding out that he's like writing and recording this in a houseboat, but he's like on the Thames. And it's like, wow, you really have that feel to the album too, that you have that, there's that ambiance. Yeah,
I kept on thinking, how big is this boathouse?
It's big. It's big
huge,
ass. Like
man.
he has like an actual recording studio in it. But it's, I don't know. That's one that that's always been one that's I've identified more with listening to the like a handful of songs on there, and that especially Learning to Fly is way, way, way up there for me.
The live version of that song, I like how it's how it starts out.
Yeah.
Really cool sounding.
Yeah. It's just such a jam.
Yeah.
And I knew you were gonna have that one high because I was going through all of our notes.
That was in my 87.
In 1987.
Yeah, when we did our 87 show. Yeah.
It was in your top 5.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say I didn't have to write a single note.
I wrote a bunch of notes because I read their whole I wanted to read through their whole wiki, and I was thinking I didn't think about it that Barrett didn't die until 2006. I had this in my head that he was gone
a long time
Well,
ago.
in the
kinda was-
70s. You know
He
what I
kind of was
mean?
gone,
Like,
but
he was gone probably mentally, but to be like physical death, I was like, what the shit? Like, he's
Yeah.
died in 2006 and it
Yeah.
never was a thing. Like,
You know, his
I should
mental
have heard
illness,
about that, but I.
you know, he was mixing his mental illness that today
Mhm.
can be
When it's like somebody could have
help.
helped him now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
because that's like Brian Wilson. Think about
Yeah.
all that. Like, he had so many things going on, and then he has that super abusive like psychiatrist dude in his life,
and
and
his
that, and it's
dad
like,
at the first time.
yeah, and you're thinking like,
Yeah.
if Sid Barrett had someone that could have actually helped him in a good
Yeah.
way and actually like changed his life, like, what would everything be like with a band?
Yeah.
You know.
And I was just about to say something and I forgot. Oh well,
You'll
come
think
later.
of it. It'll come back.
It really will.
But yeah, I don't know. I always think about musicians, like sad stuff that happened. We've talked about this stuff before,
Yeah.
like anyone with a suicide or a drug death and that. And it's like, you know, mental health is another type of death too. I feel like, even though your physical body's still there,
Yeah.
yeah.
But this is what I was going to say. His mental illness mixed with acid and
Mhm.
drugs at the time, it just didn't help at all.
Well, and he
You
probably
know,
was,
some
you know,
people
he
just
probably
say,
has like schizophrenia or something. And that's
Yeah.
like, if you have something like that going on,
You're
you
really out of it.
can't,
Yeah.
can't play with stuff like that.
Especially to have him in a band that you're trying to conquer the world,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work. It's just not. But my number 4 is an album that they dedicated to Sid Barrett, and the first track is about Sid Barrett, "Shine On You Crazy Diamond."
Mm-hmm.
Wish You Were Here.
Man, I mean,
Great album, but I like others more. If this was a show about anything else, this would be number 1. If it was 1975 or album covers or whatever, that album cover is iconic.
Oh yeah.
And then the back of it, and when I got this used, it had the stickers in there.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It
Yeah,
was
that's
really
awesome.
cool. And I put it on my guitar. It was the it was like it was the album cover of the actual, but it was colored. You know what I mean? And of course, I sold my guitar because I practiced for 2 weeks and I got frustrated, so I sold it. And of course, if you're going to be a good guitar player, you got to play for years and practice and practice. And after
I
2
know.
weeks, I was like, "Oh, I can't do it. I'll just talk about music since I can't play it." But there's the back of it. You know, "Shine On Crazy Diamond." I'm the reason why this is number 4 is that I do not like the second part of "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" on side 2 after "Wish You Were Here." If they would have done something else back there, this would have been a lot higher, but that kind of drags it down. But still, you know, the first part of Shine On You Crazy Diamond is fantastic. "Have a Cigar" is also a brilliant track. And one song I did learn how to play on that guitar was the intro to "Wish You Were Here."
that's the standard.
I did learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I did learn. And if you can give me a guitar, I could probably play it right now. But
Yeah, what a weird album that was, and the fact that they had another guy sing one of their songs. Wasn't it Roy Harper?
Roy Harper.
Saying,
Yeah.
"Have a Cigar." Roger was really pissed about that, I guess, from what I remember. But I think it worked because I heard both versions, and Roy Harper's version I think sounds better. So that's the one I'm used to too. But
Yeah, and of course, "Welcome to the Machine." Welcome. It's just
yeah,
it's a great album. So that's my number 4.
not to mention the irony of Sid Barrett rumored to come up when they were recording that album.
Yeah.
They didn't even recognize him or something when he was in the studio.
Yeah, well,
Nobody knew who
he had
was.
shaved his head and he gained a bunch of weight and he looked
Yeah.
really weird. They didn't even recognize who he was. There's pictures of that. You can
Yeah.
see pictures of him in the studio during that, and it's like, wow, he really does look. It looks like
He
he's
had
a
that stare.
person.
He had that stare though.
Yeah.
He had the shark eyes thing going.
and I think he died of complications of diabetes. That's what did him in.
Rick had pancreatic cancer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a couple years after. That was not too far from each other.
Yeah, I think they died a year apart. I think.
Something.
Oh,
I think maybe like 2000. Well, 2006 Barrett, and then 2008. I think is Rick.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's like 2
I
years.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was already sick when they were doing that Live 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't think if he was going to make it or not.
Yeah, he was going to be there for the whole thing.
Yeah, and when he toured with Gilmore, yeah, I think he was already sick, but he was touring with Gilmore.
Yeah. All right, guys, top 3.
Fucking great record, man. This is probably the album where Roger started taking a little bit more control over, I think.
Yeah.
But still, the songs on here, Dogs, Sheep, I mean, Pigs on the Wing, just great tunes, man. Dogs is it's pretty much the only Gilmore, song on it, and it's just a great fucking song, dude. I love Sheep, great riff to it. Am I missing a song on it? There's 2 Pigs on the Wing.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Pigs.
Dogs.
And Pigs.
There's Sheep.
And Pigs.
I think that's about it.
No, Pigs.
Yeah, Pigs. Yeah. 3 different ones. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, what's that?
Nothing. I was just singing Pigs. Sorry, go ahead.
Some political stuff on here, definitely.
Definitely, man.
And a lot of truth, too.
Yep.
But, this is my number 3. And this album actually took a long time to grow on. This was not even in my top 10 at one time.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and the more I listened to it over the years, this is an incredible album, man. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But, anyway, my number 3.
My number 3 is going to be "Wish You Were Here." Now look at that album cover.
Yeah, what the hell is that? That's cool as hell.
So this is a super audio CD. It's got the surround version of the album on here.
Wow.
It's in a book style. So you got you got a book, and then you got in the front here.
It has metal looking and stuff in it.
You got postcards.
Yeah.
You got the iconic.
Is that still for sale?
It's out of print. You're gonna probably pay a little more.
Yeah. Probably pay arm and a leg on eBay for it, probably. Huh?
Well, I mean, you can get this super audio CD has a surround version, but then there's the version box or something of "Wish You Were Here," like the box set, and that has the surround version in there too. I think it's on Blu-ray, in there. I don't know how cheap they are, man. I don't have the box set version. Look this up on Amazon or something. You
can probably find it on Deep Discount or one of the weird ones that's the Substack.
Maybe for $20 or $30, probably.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty good price, though.
But you need a super audio CD player to play it, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
Surround sound. That's a special player. So, this is what's called it's a hybrid. So hybrid CDs, you could play the CD layer. Will play in a regular CD player, but to get the surround version, you gotta have a super audio CD player. I have that in my system. So, but dude, it's no matter how many thousands of times you heard the album, when you hear it in surround, it's like hearing it for the first time again. Like I said countless times, this band was made for surround sound. It's almost like surround sound was developed because of them. You know what I mean? Because when you listen, when you listen to a Pink Floyd album on a good stereo, even just in stereo with the 2 speakers in front of you, you get enveloped in the sound, man.
Mm-hmm. And you can hear different nuances.
Yeah, but this, man, when you throw this on, it's like, dude, this is it's like you got stuff going on around you, man. It's just
they're definitely a band you need stereo, and you need at least 3 point and higher.
Yeah, 5.1, man.
5.
I'm not gonna go over the songs. Everybody knows the songs.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to point out the surround version, this special edition one. And it's number 3. Like I said, man, it's a killer album. it's 1C for me. It's like,
Right.
The top 5, they can like switch. It's funny. I didn't bring it up, but like over a year ago, I did do on my channel a ranking of Pink Floyd albums, and I didn't watch it before we did this. So I'm curious after like this. I'm gonna
I wonder what you switched it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go revisit it and see like what's the same and what may have changed. In like 2 years time or a year time.
I'll go check that out too.
But yeah, it's on my channel. It's ranking Pink Floyd. So, but number 3 is "Wish You Were Here." So go ahead, Kate.
Well, that's my number 3 as well.
Nice.
The top 3 for me were so hard to decide, but this one, obviously, like "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" and "Welcome to the Machine" and that "Wish You Were Here." I think every person who picks up a guitar probably learns "Wish You Were Here."
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one.
Right? Andy's the first and the last to practice.
To crack it.
It's one of the first solos I've ever learned.
Yeah, that's definitely like, I think when I started trying to play guitar, which is like in a closet collecting dust too, but that you get a handful. There's always like, you always learn Deep Purple. I was working on a Judas Priest. I was working on "Wish You Were Here." I think if you have an acoustic, you have to play like at least a Beatles song. Like what's the one that everyone plays for acoustic for Beatles? My brain is not working.
Yesterday?
No, Norwegian Wood, I feel like, is the one that everybody tries to learn for acoustic with them. But there's like a handful of songs, but I feel like "Wish You Were Here" for sure is like one that everybody tries to figure out, This one's just so many jams. Like, it's a 44-minute album, which is like one of their other shorter ones. How I was talking about certain albums are under an hour with them. Yeah. And this one just has so many good songs, and it's like 5 songs, and 4 of their biggest songs are on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that "Have a Cigar," "Wish You Were Here." I mean, you guys know all the tracks, whatever. We've all talked about it too.
That's the core album that
it's such a good. I feel like, yeah, that's one that everybody gets. Like, once they get past "Dark Side" and "The Wall," then this is probably like the next higher one that everybody gets to listen to and everybody knows by heart.
Really.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a really good cover. I love this band called The Main Squeeze. I think I sent it to you guys, but their version of "Have a Cigar" is killer. I'll send it to you guys again after this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'll send you guys the Dig version of "Fearless."
Dig, so. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I do that because I want to hear that and I don't want to forget.
Yeah, I want to listen to that. I got to send you guys this Main Squeeze because I just threw my pen on the floor, but they cover a bunch of good stuff like Zeppelin and some other Floyd and that, but their version of "Have a Cigar" is awesome. So,
I think you put some of their
stuff I sent it
page.
Before. Yeah. I'll post it on Black Spinner so everybody listening can check it out too.
Yeah,
cool. I saw them live a couple months ago here. They were amazing live. Like, that's some jam bands can't translate well from studio to live, and those guys were phenomenal. So it's worth it.
And did you say that they're from your area or from Michigan?
No, they're from California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if they come to your town, you guys should check them out. They were just playing small venues. They're not very big, but they played, I don't know, they probably played like a 500-person venue here. So
that's pretty cool.
Worth checking out. Lots of good covers. A bunch of their own stuff's really good.
Yeah, check that out.
Yeah. But Andy, we're on number 3. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is wild.
Animals. It's gonna be my number 3. I remember I pried this from my uncle's hands. I kept begging him because it's hard to find. And then he said, "Fine, leave me alone here." So I know that y'all won't believe this, but I can really bug the shit out of people. So Animals, there's the back of it. And I was looking at all the songwriting, Waters and Gilmore, Waters. He completely took over this album. I wonder if he just thought as Gilmore as a mouthpiece after a while, which is, Kind of sad.
I don't know. Roger was kind of losing it a bit mentally too around that time. Is that the time where he spit on the fan or something?
Yep.
Well, he talks about he's like having a nervous breakdown.
It was on
during
that tour.
Yeah.
On the Animals tour?
Yep.
Wow.
The story is they got so big, like they were playing stadiums, and it just felt like this is really kind of where the seeds of the wall really came into play too. Is that Roger? I think they were playing a stadium, and Roger looked down, and it just felt like a fan, like that was sitting in the front, kind of wasn't even paying attention to the band. It was just felt like he was just there just for the event, just to be there, and I don't know. It just felt like, he wasn't connecting with the fans anymore. It just got all too big, and he just went over and spit on the guy, whatever. And that kind of was a part of the concept of the whole putting a wall up between, yourself and the audience.
And it makes you think of that line, the line on the album, The Wall, where he says, let's see where you real fans stand.
Yeah, really.
We sent over a surrogate band. Let's see where you fans really stand.
And that's how they start off those original Wall shows. It was a surrogate band.
Yeah.
That's right. It was.
Yeah.
But I think Roger used the Scorpions in the Berlin one. I think.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But Animals, Dogs. It's just a classic song. 17 minutes of just storytelling and guitar breaks. It's kick ass.
One of my favorite scenes, the WAKRP in Cincinnati, man. Johnny Fever's chilling out, taking a nap, playing Dogs, man. That was just awesome. Now I have that show on DVD. They actually have a lot of the music, but unfortunately, Pink Floyd didn't let them use the music. But a lot of the other bands are in there still, which is pretty cool. That was one of my favorite scenes from that show.
Number 2, guys. Number 2.
Well,
our Pink Floyd countdown.
I mean,
nice.
We talked about it enough.
I know.
All right, my number 2.
So we just all said, do we all have the number one? The same number one, you think?
What's that?
I think so.
You think we all have the same number one?
I would bet yes.
Well, it's pretty obvious for me now, but
Al might throw a loop in this though.
All
right.
Look at that album cover. It's a little bit different there.
Yeah, yours is cool. Is that like a forest? It's kind of hard to see. Pull the insert out if you can without messing it up. CDs can be a pistol sometimes, but
again, this is a super audio CD version of the album.
Oh yeah, the back.
Yeah, that's cool.
Forest.
That's some cool shit there.
Yeah.
I've seen that when listening to Pink Floyd up north, and
Here's the CD face. Now here, this little symbol right here. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, right there. Where are my fingers at? This one.
Yeah, that's
right in the middle. The one right in the middle. That's a super audio CD symbol. So again, this is a surround sound version of the album. No matter, like I said, I heard this album thousands of times when I put this on the first time. This is actually the first surround sound album I ever got. Like when I first got a system, this is the first thing I bought. Because this was like kind of like when this stuff was starting to come out. Pink Floyd were leading like the revolution in that. And it never really caught on massively because, masses, but there's still surround sound albums still being put out nowadays. It's an audiophile thing, but dude, it's like listening to the album like for the first time ever again. No matter how many times you're burnt out on it, you listen to it in surround and you're like, wow, dude, this is like incredible. Here's just for, I got the original one here, so just to see how different the cover was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was like 2003. This came out, so 2003. So that's the 30th anniversary of the album. Yeah, it was touted as the 30th anniversary issue of the album. So shit, next year is going to be the 50th anniversary of it.
Right.
So
Oh yeah, you're right.
this is
that's
is
wild.
unbelievable. But
Holy shit.
I don't have to.
That's pretty wild.
I don't have to go through the songs. Everybody knows the songs, but yeah, it's not my number one. I mean, there's only one album left.
Okay.
You guys probably figured it out by now what my number one is, but this is my number two. I mean, how can you deny this album though? Like it's so iconic. I mean, it wasn't like the longest running album on like the Billboard charts at one point.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
like 20 years later, it was still like
it's still there.
the Billboard 200.
Well, it's still such a high selling album now.
Yeah. And it's just one of those albums that like everybody it's just one of those albums that everybody has in their collection. Even if you're like a casual, you know.
Oh yeah, you gotta have it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Back in Black. It's like, you know, fucking
Zeppelin. Everyone has to have that. They have to have that Fleetwood Rumors. They have to have like there's
Frampton Comes Alive.
50 albums that I feel like everyone owns a copy of that in their collection, no matter what they're into.
Yeah.
I don't have Frampton Comes Alive.
I
You have that one, really?
I probably have one you can
really
have.
don't. I really don't.
I'll
I've
look.
it
I
up
don't
so
know.
many times, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I
now,
feel like everyone has like night moves like Seeger, and there's like we should do a show that's like the albums that everyone owns.
Boston's debut.
Yeah, Boston. ELO has to be a big one too. Yeah, we should do a top everyone owns this album show.
yeah, we really should do something like that.
Yeah.
But that's my number two is Dark Side. So go ahead, Kate.
My number two, I went with The Wall, but it's a toss up, man. Like these three are really hard because I was trying to decide between that and Dark Side, obviously, and like the Wall I've listened to so many times, and I've watched that movie so many times.
Yeah.
And I was talking about like when you mentioned it, and you're saying like Goodbye Blue Sky, and that, and I was like, there was a period in my later teen years that I was like obsessed. Like maybe I was doing some things that I shouldn't be doing and listening to a lot of Pink Floyd and becoming obsessed with certain songs on The Wall. And yeah, I don't know. That one, I don't know. We all talked about it kind of, but another brick in the wall, obviously. And like, I'm a huge art nut. So that film, seeing that for the first time, and I probably was like, maybe 13. Maybe I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
That's super intense, and that's shit from history that you don't really know all the like concept behind a lot of it, and like there's so much symbolism in that. And having someone else who's like this, like someone who's a senior is showing me this when I'm a freshman in high school, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
The animated flower dance is just incredible.
Yeah, and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't flowers.
You know,
this isn't flowers.
The flowers are screwing.
And then like the blood running in the drain, and it's like, you have a senior stoner that's like, that's the blood of the British, the good British blood going in the sewer. Like, all right, man, like this is some intense shit for a 13-year-old to be like getting into.
I'm going home.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have nightmares tonight because I watched The Wall with some weirdo. But
I'm gonna have to watch that when I get off here.
That's literally what I was thinking too. I'm like, damn, I really want to watch that tonight before I go to bed.
I'm actually going to hear pros and cons of hitchhiking tonight.
Oh, that'll be good. Yeah, I was thinking about listening to a couple of those too. But I'm like, man, that's just such a big piece of my brain at the time, and I'm thinking about like starting school and getting exposed to a bunch of weird stuff. And like my parents were into psych, which was cool. Like that's how I have my huge love of the Beatles, is because my mom was super into the Beatles, and I have all her OG stuff from when she was a kid.
Yeah.
And that was like getting into vinyl too, especially like this time in my life, like freshman year, I probably was like paying for shit with babysitting money. And that's when I'm buying my first albums and that, like thinking about, I've talked about this with you guys before, where I'm thinking about it. And I was like, all right, so I have all my parents' albums, and then getting my own first job and having my own money. And it's like, what are you spending money on? Well, I bought this album. It's like such a weirdo. I've always been the weird kid, but that's stuff I always think about when getting, and then really getting into vinyl in the last like 3 years where I just got into it enough that I started selling it and everything. But this one story I wanted to tell about the wall. So I'm in the car with my dad, and for some reason I'm driving and he's my passenger. And this is when I'm like maybe 18 or 19. And another brick in the wall comes on, and he's like, holy shit, turns the radio all the way up. He's like, the wall opened here in Detroit, and me and my buddies all went and took window pane acid, and you put it in your eye. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I am your child, and I'm somehow the adult driving the car right now, and you're talking about how you guys just would go and like put acid in your eye.
Yeah.
So like, my dad did not care. Like, I was lucky that I had parents that were like, I had free reign to do whatever I wanted growing up, and he always is open about sharing all his experiences. But yeah, that's part of getting into Floyd too, is like my dad's super into Pink Floyd, and then having these like weird hippie friends that I ended up being, that was like my mix of buddies when I first was like a freshman into sophomore year, was like joining the hippie crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on. I'm gonna stop talking about it and let Andy do his number 2.
It's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be the wall. Just brick, plain brick. I think this album is great beginning to end. I love Vera. I love that song.
I love the name Vera. Like,
Vera.
if I ever had a kid, that'd be their name, I think. Well, girl,
What
obviously.
become of you?
And they did bring Boys Back Home. I just didn't really care for that little part of the album.
Yeah.
Again,
But it made sense. It made sense. I get it.
Yeah.
It makes sense once you see the film, I feel like, more than the album.
Bring
Yeah.
the boys. And then go straight into
Bring the boys back home, man. That was such an emotional part of the concert, man. I remember.
Which one?
The Bring the Boys Back Home.
Yeah.
It felt like the whole crowd was like, it was like a rallying cry, like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Wow.
And I was like, dude, I was almost in tears, man. Like,
oh yeah. When I hear Vera, I get misty eyed because
Vera is one that really kills me, because like thinking about
so powerful.
I don't know. That one definitely get misty.
Yeah, I talked about side 2 being my favorite, but side 3 is just as powerful. It really is. And then side 4 with a judge and the trial. Oh my god!
Yeah. That's, I can see it all in my head when we're talking about it. I can see everything in my head. That's how much of an impression.
This is a real tour de force kind of album. There's no other album like it by anybody in my opinion. Because you just can't say, "Oh, well, that album reminds me of The Wall." You'll never hear that. You'll never hear that. So that is my number 2, and the only reason why it's number 2. I'll talk about it when we get to number 1. Okay, guys. Number 1 album.
Take a guess. What it
Our
is.
Pink Floyd number 1.
I mean,
it's iconic, man.
Look at the fucking album cover, man.
It's so cool.
Album covers next to Abbey Road.
There was a van.
Exactly.
There was a van. There was a van that was local in my town that had that painted. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was like one of them old school vans.
I kind of want to do one of those. That'd be sweet. Yeah. Or have a really cool like metal dragon and hot broad one or something. Yeah. Like, that'd be fun.
I work at Kroger's, and I saw someone have the 18 van.
Oh, the 18.
Oh, the 18,
yeah, 18 van.
What do you got there, Jerry?
You got all the stickers and the postcards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kept a couple posters. I don't like I like keeping the posters in the album. I don't like hanging them up or anything like that.
Yeah, I never hang up a folded one. I don't know. But
man, this album, man, it's just
Well, you do have the posters?
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is actually a newer press. It's nothing.
Yeah, that's a repress. Yeah. If you have the OG with the posters and the stickers and shit, oh my god, it's worth some money.
But Us and Them, man, what a great song that is.
Oh God, man, I love that song so much.
I'm not a big fan of the saxophone, but it works with Pink Floyd, man, for some reason. It
Dude,
always
see them
has.
do that live the other day, and it's like that works so damn well in that song. Yes.
That and not off the Ricks, Great Gig in the Sky, man. What a great the vocal on that. Claire Torrey, is that her name? I can't remember her name.
I can't think of what the broad.
I think it's Claire Torrey.
Yeah. What the broad's name is. What a killer voice, though.
But supposedly that was just a one take. That's hard to believe. That's such a beautiful sounding whatever it is she's singing.
Wow, that's by Richard Wright. Great Gig in the Sky.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean,
Doris Troy, Leslie Duncan, Liza Strike, Barry St. John. Those are backing vocals.
And hats off to
vocals on Great Big Gig in the Sky is Claire Torrey.
And then,
I think she passed away recently too. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
But hats off to Alan Parsons for fucking engineering.
Oh my gosh, the engineering on this.
Amazing.
I mean, I don't know. Did they interview regular people or were they prisoners for all the talking parts? And I can't remember.
I don't know.
They were talking to regular people or prisoners. I can't remember who they were talking to.
I don't know.
Huh.
What are you talking about?
Like, it's weird. When
what
the intermixed parts.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember exactly who they were talking to.
About what?
No, just the vocal that you hear. Like
there's just that weird the trippy parts where you hear kind of muted talking.
Us and them. The people talking in the middle of the song.
Okay. Oh yeah.
There's no dark side of the moon. In fact, it's always dark or something like that.
There's somebody said something that Paul McCartney was actually one of the voices in there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll probably hear about 1,000 rumors about who's actually on there.
And it's funny that you say that because the McCartney album called "From the Egg" or something like that has Gilmore on it.
Yeah,
and that was about the same time.
Who knows? I mean,
I've always been mad.
Been mad for fucking years.
Yeah. I certainly wasn't the right.
I don't know. I was really drunk at the time. It's so odd how you remember these little nuances.
They get stuck in your head because it's like something that you don't expect.
Yeah, yeah.
But this album just it's just a legendary album, man.
It is.
I said, the album cover is just so iconic.
The whole packaging, they just gave it all to you.
Yeah,
and that was
that's the gatefold and everything. The gatefold inside's cool that it leads all the way through.
Yeah,
it's also the pinnacle of all four of them writing together too.
Yeah.
And that's a good send off to that era, I guess.
I would agree with that, man. I would agree. Like that's the pinnacle of like the four of them working together. Yeah. After that, that's when Waters really started asserting his dominance. His dominance started on "Wish You Were Here." He started dominating on there.
Yeah.
But are you done, Jerry? Or are you?
Yeah, I'm done.
So obviously, my number one. I'm the contrarian here. My number one is Animals, and I don't even have a physical copy to open up, to hold up. But I am excited that this year is supposed to be a box set of Animals coming out.
Yes, I can't wait to hear it.
And it's going to have a remix of it. It's going to have the surround version of it. Yeah, I love that album. That album covered Battersea. That's Battersea Power Station or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's been since mowed down, but the whole pig, they had to use a sharpshooter to shoot it down, and it flew away.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, they actually had a flying pig. So they, so what happened was, after they took the pictures, they had a sharpshooter that was gonna shoot it to deflate it. And so it would come down, but somehow he didn't get it. It floated away or some shit like that. Ended up in somebody's backyard. Can you imagine a huge pig landing in your backyard?
Right.
It's like unbelievable, man. But I mean, like Jerry was saying before, like lyrically, like that this album is so relevant to like what's going on politically.
Yeah.
You know, how everybody like is divided into different, you know, factions and all that shit. But you know, that could be you can translate that into human life too, like, you know, humans and you know, everybody segregates or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people kind of stick to themselves or with their families and relatives and people they grew up with, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I do say hi to everybody I see throughout my day, but
but yeah, dogs, sheep, and pigs, 3 different ones. I mean, I love pig, dude. I mean, I think when I saw Roger Waters live, I remember him doing sheep, which is great. But I was just so craving like Gilmore to be there because it's such a Gilmore like dominated song, dude. You know, it's like it's great that Roger's doing it solo, but like you want to hear Dave there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, maybe like a big reason why this is my number one is there's no burnout factor with this because you don't really hear these songs played on the radio ever, you know, unless it's like a deep cut station, like Deep Cuts.
You're
on like Sirius or something.
The songs are all long. You know, you don't get 10-minute songs played on the radio, you know, that often, you know, and so, but I mean, every time I throw this on, man, it just still sounds fresh to me. Still sounds great. I mean, I love listening to it on headphones, and like, you know, during dogs, man, when you actually hear like the dogs barking in the background.
Yeah, my dogs freak out.
Oh my god, yeah, I had it on earlier. My dogs started losing their shit.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, there's a dog in here. What's going on?
Yeah. Where is he?
It's even cool hearing the word stone 100 times during that song. You know, it's just a great song.
Oh yeah.
But I love animals.
Down by the stone.
Yeah, it keeps going. It keeps going, man.
They do it in sheep too. I think it continues on that song too.
Yeah, it comes back. So
it's so cool. I mean, I don't. It's just
cool. I mean, who thinks of that?
Exactly. Man? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait for the box set to come out. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's gonna have like a live show in it. It's gonna be like a surround version of the album, and just can't wait. I mean, it's gonna be an instant purchase for me. So, but that's my number one. Animals, love animals. You know.
That is available for pre-order now, though, ain't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah.
I gotta look into that. After I get this Neil Young.
It's like $100, I think, something like.
Oh, is it?
Around there.
I don't know, man. I love the album so much that I'm willing to drop that.
Yeah, I'll end up getting it.
It'll be worth it. You can do a pre-order just so you're sure you get it too, because vinyl. There's just
I pre-ordered stuff where they had to cancel because they didn't have it.
Yeah, I just had a couple things cancel on me that they're like, oh, it's a production error or something. You know, like the distributor. I'm like,
yeah, I've had that.
Go ahead, Kate. What's your number one?
I just like, I don't know. I had this weird thought about how it's pigs, dogs, and sheep. And you have all the people who are the sheep, and the pigs are all the corrupt, you know, politicians and business owners. And then he always has all his war stuff. So it's like Dogs of War kind of thing. But and thinking about like Animal Farm, I mean, that's just such a trippy book too.
Yeah.
To think about what a wild. And there's a cool older film, like if you watch the film version of it, of Animal Farm, but it's pretty intense, and it still rings true now. Like there's still so much relevance now that
it's, you know, we live in a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, listening to that when he was playing that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not stoned because I would have freaked out. Like we would have had to leave. Like I'm glad I didn't smoke or anything. I would have gone crazy. but my number one obviously is Dark Side of the Moon. You guys know what it looks like. Everybody knows. Very cool that it continues from the outside to the inside. I've always thought the gatefold in this was awesome. Everyone knows all the songs. Time and Money. I mean, and brain, you know, like Us and Them, Brain Damage, but Time, such a freaking killer track, and the bell at the beginning, and I'm like instantly in this headspace of like, Ah,
After Run, it gets
Yeah.
all playing.
Yeah.
Bum.
oh man, yeah, and then like the intro to Money and the change and everything, and the cash register ringing out. That, yeah, I just such iconic song, such an iconic album cover. Like that's something that I feel like it's definitely one of those albums everyone owns a copy of.
I think Time is one of the best openings.
Oh, Time
of any song.
It's such a phenomenal song, start to finish, and definitely like the intro, like you said, is just such a banger. It's just, yeah, I don't know. There's this really cool video game that is called Audio Surf, and I don't know if you guys like playing games or whatever. It's cool even if you're just a music nerd, because I'm not a big video game nerd by any means at all. But it's this game that you're a spaceship on a track and you load it into your computer and you load whatever song you want. And as it loads the song, it builds the whole track to the highs and the lows and all the different parts of the song. So that's something I can like specifically see in my head playing Time. And I don't know, I'll have to send you guys a link to this game because it's fucking really cool if you're into music at all. Because you get to put in whatever song you want and it builds a whole track for you to do the spaceship. And you have to like avoid obstacles. And I think the obstacles are like the drum beats or something. But very, very cool game. And you get to see the whole track around like off in the distance. If you're looking at it, it's like in space, but the whole track's built throughout. It's awesome. I highly recommend that for anyone who wants to play it.
The song structure is amazing. I mean, you got, David Gilmour singing
that one to play on that video game.
And he's like, he's yelling out the verses, and then you get to the kind of the chorus with Richard Wright's voice. And it's so soft and so beautiful.
This one's like, it's cool how they have all the different, and like I've said, that's a big thing for me when changes in songs, when you can go from a certain place to a different place in a song like that, or sound wise at least. But this one's cool on the division, like the split of it's Masons, Water, Gilmour, Wright, and then Gilmour, Waters. Like this one's really a better split of everyone has like a big part.
Everybody working together.
Yeah. That one's really cool. Like you said, that was like the peak of all of them together. I think I agree with that. Definitely. Yeah. I know. I'll stop. All right, Andy.
Oh, that's right.
I think we can guess what your number one is.
Yeah, I saw Jerry playing around with it, but it came with a great poster.
Cool. Yeah. I like how they split up the name and everything.
Should I may take it out and hang it up now? Damn.
Yeah, now you gotta put it on the wall.
And then also this green one with just the
pyramids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is iconic. We've already talked about it, but my favorite track off of here is Time, of course. Yeah. It's just beautifully written. Mm-hmm. And of course, it ends with
brain damage.
With brain damage and Eclipse and I've got a 45 of Money. The flip side is any color you want, I think. Or you like. Yeah. Any color you like. And then I've also got this on CD, and it's 2 CDs. The second CD is them playing it live in 1973 in Olympic. I think it's Stadium, because it was the same place that Led Zeppelin 1 was when they did when they came out with with the remasters.
Yeah.
It's got Led Zeppelin 1 from the same place, but what else hasn't been said about this? We see people with T-shirts, people coloring their bands. People
don't even know what it is wearing the T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our number one. So three of us were
I had to be the
Al.
And Al picked Animals, which is another great album.
Nothing wrong with that one.
And like you said, they're doing what the album deserves. That'll be coming out in the early fall, I think.
Yeah.
It's be coming out really
I'm excited for that one, man.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you agreed. I'm just glad you agreed with me on the Division Bell, and I thought I was going to be the only one to rank that thing high. So I was kind of happy about that.
I need to go back and listen to it more because I feel like you guys ranking it high. I'll probably like it more if I listen to it again.
I agree as well. Like I haven't listened to it in a long time. You know what's funny too is but there was a box set on that album that came out like I don't know 3-4 years ago already.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They dropped a big box. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't end up getting the big box, but I remember they offered a surround sound version of the album, just like a standalone disc, and I hopped on it like real quick, and it sold out like that. And I think I got it for like $20. I didn't want to drop like a lot of money on the whole big box just to get the surround sound version of it. And again, like that album is so layered, it's so beautifully like produced that like the surround sound just brings out like this stuff that never even heard. You know, it's amazing. I don't know. It's just I have to pull that one out and listen to it too.
Redo it. Yeah. Any of those albums, that's even like Endless River, that any of the soundscape ones that you have a lot more levels and different things going on.
Yeah.
Having that extra any more speakers or the like super surround would be really cool to listen to. That's like a really good pair of headphones. If you have like a kick-ass set of headphones to listen to something in full big stereo. Yeah, that's really cool.
All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Al, and thank you, Kate, and thank you, Jerry, for joining me.
I had a lot of fun on this one.
Yeah, this one was a really good one.
I always have fun on your shows, but this was great. You know,
yes.
It's awesome to talk about Pink Floyd, and it's just one. It's cool when it's one of our favorite bands, and we learn different tidbits from each other. I'm still working on a topic for next Wednesday. I don't have one yet. I'm kicking around some ideas.
All right,
but I will get back to you. I'm leaning towards top 10 of a certain year.
Okay.
I'm leaning
those are always fun.
Yeah, and I'm leaning towards the end of the millennium is what I'm. Oh, well, since I've already said, let's do top 10 albums of 1999. Leading into 2000s.
You got to go with Millennium.
That's kind of interesting.
So the top 10 albums at the end of the millennium.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, I was watching this thing on Hulu. It's called it's like something called the worst of the 90s. They talked about all they were talking about Y2K, how everybody was freaking out about
Y2K.
Yeah, and I remember leaving work on New Year's Eve, and we all had to unplug our computers and shit just to plug them all back in when we came back on the second. So
wait, it was Australia already had it, and everything was fine.
Yeah, right. We're all like, So we're going to do the top 10 of 1999 plus 5 honorable mentions. I love to do the honorable mentions because sometimes we have albums that don't quite make the top 10, but we want to talk about them. So we'll do the 5 honorable mentions. So let me know if that's something y'all want to do. So that will be next Wednesday at 8/1999.
Cool.
Which is going to be an odd year because I don't even know what came out that year. The only thing that I know that came out was an album I was listening to. It was so funny, and it was the debut album, The Buck Cherry, came out in '99. So
yeah, that was also bands like Sugar Ray and stuff like that around that era too.
I don't know, man. That was a weird time.
It was a weird time.
Sugar Ray's a weird band, though. You got to listen to their old stuff because it's more metal.
Older stuff.
Yeah, it's like more metal and not pop.
Oh, it's
really weird.
Their first album was pretty heavy, actually.
Yeah.
Lemonade
very different sounding than the radio played.
Lemonade and Brownies or something like that.
I honestly couldn't tell you the name of it, but I just think about it.
Nicole Eggert on the cover.
But they were great. They were great bands around that time too. Like I love Matchbox 20, Everclear. I love that.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of bands that we usually don't talk about. That's going to be on there. So let me know if that's something y'all want to do. I will start putting that together. So 1999 next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thank you all for joining us. This was a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining me and spending the time. Bunch of friends talking about music. Love it.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Always fun. Thanks, Andy.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah,
Take
good
care.
night, y'all. I'll talk to y'all during the week.
You
Y'all
got
take
it.
it easy.
Peace.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.